Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ask a Scientist Gaming, where we combine mediocre gameplay with expert-level science. I'm Ken Hansen, Associate Professor in Chemistry and Biochemistry at Florida State University. I care about all things light-matter interaction as it drives solar cells, photochemistry, photocatalysis, anything that uses light to change chemical processes. I'm in love with it. But more importantly, joining me today is Dr. Don Carr. Don, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Hi, I am a professor in the sociology department at Florida State, and I study aging and health. So I'm interested in all the things that help people reach later life as healthy as possible so that they can thrive and have a good later life experience.
And what do you teach typically? Which classes?
So I teach a few different classes. I teach an aging and the life course class, which is a class about kind of all the things we need to know about how people age well and what helps people kind of reach later life physically capable and financially capable and have kind of good social relationships. And then I also teach a sociology of food class, which is about all the social factors related to food. And then I teach some graduate classes like statistics, introductory statistics class, and a couple of aging classes as well, including one on caregiving.
Very fun. All right, yeah. Equally important. What are we playing today? What are we starting with?
I think we're starting with Tetris today.
All right, Tetris, ladies and gentlemen. Don, take it away.
All
Actually,
right.
Before you press start, is anybody up for starting a prediction? So, Don, when was the last time you played this game seriously?
Oh, goodness. 25 years ago? Maybe more. Maybe more than 25 years ago.
So what are we going to say? Will you get more than 80 lines?
Yes. Okay, let's go for it. First try?
Yep.
All right, let's give it a try.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, use your standard internet units. It's time to gamble on whether you think Don is going to beat 80 lines or not. And so we're going to start the prediction right now.
All right.
So go ahead and throw your bets in there right now. If you're not following, click the follow button, get your 300 standard net internet units, and then you can spend points. We also have a new emote for tier 2 emote, which is shut up and take my standard internet units. So we have at least one believer in the chat.
One believer, all right.
So we'll give them about a minute
Okay.
before we reveal your gameplay.
All right.
Equally important, which music version are you going to pick?
Ooh, I didn't think about that. I should check that out. Let's see. Wow. I didn't know there were different music choices.
It's 3 options, which is pretty high tech for an NES game.
1989, right?
Oh,
all right,
man.
I think I'm going with like the standard first one.
It's classic sound. All right, put your bets in. Predictions now. Will Dawn get more than 80 lines or less than 80 lines on our first try? Almost first try. She played a little bit earlier. First try in about over 2 decades. So place your bets right now and make decisions from there. Yeah, so here you can see who's betting how many people, how much points they put towards it, and then the betting odds. So
see what they say.
It's 2-2 right now. Any
2-2.
tiebreakers on whether Don will get more than 80 lines?
All right.
Go ahead.
Ready?
Let's do
All
it.
right.
We're going to reveal a little bit here, starting at 0.
At least I remembered which buttons to press. I mean, that's the important thing, right? Got to figure it out.
Step 1 on Tetris.
I know.
That's one of the things I love about games, though, because it's underappreciated how much it is the scientific method.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it is like the reality and the rules are very different than our rules. So it's testable hypothesis that you actually figure it out.
Yeah.
And so we have just a quintessential example of that.
It's true. Kind of naturally, you'd kind of like mess with it quickly and figure it out too.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's all about encouraging kids to maintain that curiosity.
Yeah.
They have that intrinsic desire to figure stuff out. So we can keep maintaining it. All right, so before diving into anything heavy, we'll start with a relatively easy one. So 6-year-old Dawn was not convinced she was going to be a gerontologist.
Right.
So what road led you to where you are today, playing Tetris while talking science?
Oh, this is interesting. So I did not plan to study aging because most people, when they're young, don't think, hey, I want to learn about old people. But I actually started off as a musician. I was a trumpet player and studied classical music, and then had my wisdom teeth pulled, and the dentist accidentally missed and got a nerve that is critical to playing the trumpet. And I had to change gears and find something else to do. And I met some faculty members in the gerontology department where my husband was working at Miami University in Ohio, and they were super interesting. And I decided I would give it a try and see, learn a little more about it. Took some classes, and I was totally hooked. And it turned out just to be one of the most interesting things I'd ever learned about. So it doesn't hurt that I had like a really great relationship with my grandma, and that she was interesting. And I was curious why so many of her friends were doing so well. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what I learned over the years in figuring that out.
And that's so gerontology, you're in kind of a unique position. Like when I have a quantum chemist on that studies two electrons, or an astrophysicist that studies stars, like that's important, but it's not
a little hard to explain.
Right? But like aging is hopefully intrinsic to everyone.
Yeah.
Right. And so it affects a lot of people, and
Yeah, people become more interested the older they get. They're like,
makes sense. They realize they're not going to live forever.
I get on an airplane and everyone's like, what do you do? And if I bring up aging, they're like, oh, you should study me. I'm old.
That's way better than the response I get. Usually like, oh, chemistry. I hated that class. Or chemistry.
Yeah. I could see that. Maybe only thing worse would be math, right? Studying. I don't know.
It's some
people love to hate math.
Once in a while I get a positive response, but more often than not, it's pretty cynical. To be fair, that's chemistry's fault in the way we teach it.
I feel like some people do pretty well. I don't think I ever took a chemistry class, though. Not in college, anyway. I did in high school. I liked it.
Yeah, I suppose you wouldn't have had to in grad school.
No, I didn't.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Now we know the backstory. Everyone joining us right now, it's Professor Dawn Carr. She's a gerontologist, studies health and aging and the relationship between those things, variables that affect those. If you have any questions, you want to throw them in chat right now, please feel free to do so. She's happy to answer them while hopefully getting 80 lines in Tetris.
All right.
We're going for it.
How am I doing so far?
You are at 28 right now.
Oh, I see now. I can see where I forgot it was listed.
Yeah, so every 10 it speeds up a little bit more.
So I got to be careful what I wish for. I'm just trying to go. All right.
That's good. You got a 50-50
I'm starting to get the hang of this. It's amazing how quick it comes back. I feel like all the things you do when you're young, they stick pretty well. Like you remember them better than any other time in your life.
Yeah.
So your brain hangs on to those memories pretty strong. So like if you talk to someone who loses the ability to, or has like dementia or whatever, they can often still sing, even when after they lose the ability to do everything else, and they're usually singing stuff they listened to when they were teenagers. It's pretty fascinating.
Wow. So that's not just like a muscle memory thing. It's long-term memory.
Yeah, it's also, music's interesting for lots of reasons because, people process it a lot more than they do a lot of other things. It's in a deeper place in their brains. So, that's part of it. I'm not doing so well.
I'm getting stressed.
I know. What's happening?
But it's beautiful.
I'm gonna recover.
Yep.
I feel confident of that. Okay. How resilient am I?
So along those lines, so the average age of a gamer is somewhere just above 30 years old. So that implies in 30, 40 years, nursing homes are going to be filled with people playing
video games.
Oh, that's
interesting.
Do you have any thoughts on, is that a good or bad thing?
So I have studied a little bit gaming and technologies and older people. And I think it's possible. So older people right now, they actually really like playing Wii bowling. That's like one of their favorite.
That's the go-to in the nursing homes right now?
Yeah, that's what they do.
That's
and
awesome.
It's really good for them because, you know, one of the most important things in your life is being social. And it, you know, helps people live longer lives and stuff. So it's good that they're finding ways to connect. So they connect through playing video games a lot, actually.
That's awesome. And it's a physical activity with Wii bowling at least.
It is. It is to some degree kind of physical.
It's walking,
Yeah.
a little bit of arm motion.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
All right, I'm going to
Here it
recover.
is. Oh,
Finally,
Nice.
yay. Bam. I told you I could do
that
this.
was beautiful. 51 lines.
All right.
Skeptics, are you getting nervous?
I know. You probably should be getting, you probably shouldn't be getting nervous because you're going to see me struggle again here soon. I can feel it.
Well, I mean, so you brought two aspects of the video gaming, right? There's a social aspect and there's also like a mechanical, dexterous
Yes.
skill aspect to it. And so I hadn't thought about the social before.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the most important things, you know, about living a long and healthy life, actually, is social, maintaining a very healthy social life. So it's one of the strongest predictors.
It's interesting.
So, yeah,
Do you
people
know,
don't think about that.
I mean, like 20 years ago, people would get shit for saying, you know, I have online friends, but now it's like a real
that's
thing,
true.
right?
That's true.
Has anybody dug into that? I mean, is there a difference between?
Yeah, that's actually one of the big questions for those of us who study technology use and aging is like, is it an acceptable version of socialization? And the answer is a little fuzzy. Most people generally agree that in-person engagement is better for you.
Mm-hmm.
But in the absence of in-person engagement, actually, it's a pretty reasonable option.
Let's see.
So, you know, that's about all we know for certain.
That's going to be an inevitable data dump in your field because it's coming, right? The World of Warcraft players turn 80, and
Seriously.
that's what they're going to be doing.
Oh, I'm screwed now.
Just
Oh,
need a
that's not
couple line
good.
Pieces.
I didn't get my... I just killed myself. No! Yep. I'm done. I didn't make it.
Oh no,
I was doing so well, and then I lost it.
that's good though. You were on a roll, except
I
that
was.
you got shut
I'm a little
off once.
rusty.
All right, we're going to choose outcome here. Will Don get more than 80 lines? No. All right, congratulations to the skeptics.
Damn,
They
I
got
didn't
a-
want the skeptics to...
They got a 2.5 to 1 payout. Congratulations. Have your standard internet unit. That was a fun first try.
I mean, should I do it again?
Yes.
Are we gonna
Oh,
are we gonna bet
absolutely.
this time, or is it just gonna be for
No, we'll just do this for
practice?
fun.
Oh, look, I get to put my name in. How do I do that?
I think up or down probably.
Oh, look at that. Oh, this is I forgot that. Oh yeah. Can you
Fortunately,
go?
it doesn't have memory, but
But it's so. I remember the
That's all.
experience of like I get my name on the first,
yeah.
and then there we go. All right. Okay, I'm gonna do it this time. I'm gonna
Musty
get.
Unicorn, yes, we are using an emulator. We're using the FCUX. I don't know how to pronounce it. FSX, whatever it is. That's the emulator we use. And so ROM files with that. But yeah, it turns out to work pretty well.
And that makes no sense to me, but I'm glad it makes sense to you.
Well, it turns out, depending what game you want to play, there's different emulators to mimic them.
Oh, interesting.
So there's some one size fits all that aren't very good, and then just like I have 12 different emulators on my desktop for
Wow.
everything from Virtual Boy to SNES to NES to whatever you might want. So yeah, emulators are the way to go. But if anyone that's concerned about copywriting and stealing video games, I have hard copies of most of these things. So I do have a copy of Tetris in the
So
closet.
we're playing by the rules.
Yep, exactly.
All right, good.
So we're legit. All right. Does anyone have questions for Dr. Don Carr? Health and aging. You are all going to age, hopefully. Optimistically, everyone in the chat is going to age. What do you want to know about health and aging and how those variables impact health and aging? Are you using an emulator is our first question of the night. Happy to field that one.
Let's see.
Half the battle in gaming is confidence.
Oh,
So as soon as that there's coming,
how about when you pretend you have confidence? Does that matter?
matters to the audience. I don't know if it matters to you.
So I'm killing it.
Because I saw a study about that. Like they do studies on like leadership and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what it was. The loudest, most vocal person is perceived as the leader short term, but if they show any incompetence, obviously it wears off.
Ooh,
right.
Those are some doozies. That I just saw come in.
All right, Reese's Pieces wants to know what information is out there about aging with twins. Do you do twin
With
studies?
twins?
Yes.
I personally don't do twin studies, but there's a lot of research on twins. So I don't know if it's aging with twins or twin studies. So researchers like to use twins to try to differentiate what stuff is genetic versus what stuff you're born with. Or what stuff you're born with, which is genetic, and what stuff is a consequence of like what environment you're in, what parents you picked, stuff like that. So I don't do that kind of work myself, but there are lots of people who do. And what they've learned is about half of the outcomes that people experience is attributed to some genetic component. Now, that doesn't mean genes cause it, but there seems to be some unusually predictive power of seeing two twins that are raised in different households and how amazingly similar they are. But a lot of people say, when it's talking about a lot of the health outcomes and stuff like that, as opposed to like your personality, about 20% of your outcomes might be genetic. So what that means is like, if you're leading a healthy life, you live long, even if someone in your family had health problems. So you don't get those things from your family directly. You usually get them from making bad decisions and bad health behaviors. So that's really what I know about twin studies. I can't think of anything else. They're really interesting ways of like holding constant your genes, and so they look at genes that didn't grow up in the same household. I should be clear. So that's a pretty cool way to look at stuff. Yeah. So
that 50% number, that I've heard that many times. Nature versus nurture. It seems like it's split usually.
that has more to do. Oh man, I just messed up. It's totally getting cocky. It's not a good idea.
Trying to get too fancy.
I know, it's not a good idea. Yeah, I mean, but it's 50%, but that's only when you're talking about, personality has a certain amount of, genetic components, which is fascinating. So like, you don't make your child typically extroverted, but you can get them to be more social because the environment is more social. But when it comes to health, only about 20%.
So that's so we had Sarah Hart on. I don't know if you know Sarah. She's from psychology. She does like early childhood development and learning.
That would make sense.
She's used the same like 50% nature versus nurture kind of thing.
And psych people. Yep.
And so I'm really curious about that, because like you're talking about old age where there's been a lot more window of nature to influence. But
nature affects you more the older you get.
Yeah.
So the longer you survive, the more you can kind of see. Not nature, I'm sorry. The longer you survive, the more lifestyle influences you.
That makes sense.
So, because you kind of survive past your personality only matters so much when it comes to aging. Wow. I mean, if you're a terrible human being, it matters all the way up until the time you die. But and that generally doesn't go away. Yeah. So like, you don't get crankier just because you're getting older, for instance. You're just probably a cranky person your whole life.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's see. The average life expectancy is that the next one?
Rob wants to know, what is the average life expectancy now?
It depends on
globally
where.
Or U.S.
So this adds to the whole discussion about nature versus nurture. It depends on what country you live in. The lowest life expectancy is in the early 40s in countries like And I should be clear that I haven't looked in the last like couple years, but places like Burkina Faso, places where there have been a lot of major disruptions with the government systems, where they, have issues with real basic stuff like clean water and running water at your disposal, and real basic things that you need to stay healthy. They're not doing so well. But the United States, if you're a highly educated person who has less going against you, and like fewer, you have more education, you have more wealth, you have access to all kinds of resources, those people are living into their, upper 80s in general. So I usually tell my students, you should expect to live to be 95. I mean, if you're going to college and you're getting a degree and you finish, because I usually tell them, you do have to finish to get those health benefits, then you should expect to live to be 95 easily. But in the United States, average women 81, men 79 approximately. I said 79, didn't I? I didn't say 89.
Yeah, 70.
Yes, I said 79. Good. That's what I mean.
Those numbers went down. I learned this from Matt Hauer by 1.5 due to COVID.
They did go down, but it's probably temporary. Yeah. I mean, these are the interesting things about statistics with demography, is that, they are changeable. We can live shorter lives over time. I mean, everyone sort of assumes you're going to just keep living longer and longer lives, but COVID definitely shows that that's not the case.
Very interesting.
But case. I should say the countries with the longest lived lives, I think you covered that with Matt, right?
Yep.
Who's my colleague, who's awesome, is like Japan for a while. Italy is one of the oldest countries, but Japan usually wins the award for longest lives. Is that what he was saying right now, or is there another country that
I don't remember off the top of my head. It might have been Japan.
They have for many decades been like the one country that like tends to really have long-lived lives for whatever reason.
They also have issues with like a high suicide rate too.
They do,
which is crazy because that should offset some degree. But
they do, but it's a very specific group of people who face those suicide risks. Which, the culture matters, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the important things. Oh, let's see. How am I going to get out of this mess? I'm getting there.
You're fine. No, it's perfect.
Oh, I got it. Check me out. Okay, now I need a big one, and then I'm get it. Here it comes.
You are at
damn
73
Look at that.
lines, right?
See, if this had been my first one.
Round 2.
I know.
Should do one for 100 lines. Reese's Pieces clarified they wanted to know the difference between twins in their old age.
Twins in their old age?
I mean, presumably if they grew up together in the same household, same profession. Roughly the same?
So yeah, it depends on their lifestyle. I don't know of any studies that have specifically evaluated mortality differences, but certainly, there's a lot of it depends on if they grew up together, right? So if they have similar lifestyles and they had similar levels of education, they have very similar outcomes. That's kind of the interesting thing. So you can't differentiate them, just regular siblings actually have a lot in common. There's definitely differences, but you'd be surprised at how similar they are up to very late ages. But I personally have not seen any studies that studied old people who are twins and evaluated those differences. In part, you have to have enough of those people to study them. And that can be a challenge to have a data set that allows you to do that.
Minerva Muffin has a fun question.
Okay, what's that?
How does a gerontologist help with everyday living?
Help with everyday living? Well, we can tell you what factors matter when it comes to living long lives. So I often get the question like, what are the, oh my God, it's gonna be hard to talk through this. What are the most important things to take into consideration when you're preparing for old age? So my students learn the importance of saving. Oh man, I'm losing it. It's hard. So saving for retirement and how the importance of financial security. Mm-hmm. So that's one way we spend a lot of time talking about that. Oh man, it's too hard. It's
too much at 93.
Yeah, I can't do it. 93, but I beat 90 this time.
Yeah,
So,
you beat 80. You crushed 80.
All right.
Well done. Round 2 was 93.
That was intense. Okay, now I can answer your question. Let's see. Everyday living. Okay, so I often get the question what are the 5 most important things that you need to know about living a long and healthy life? And I'm you already know the answers, actually, right? To some degree, but there's certain things that are a big surprise. We know that exercise is important. Any amount is good, and the more you do, generally, the better. Eating not garbage and fruits and vegetables mostly is good. There's not a diet that is most predictive of longevity. If you hear that, it's wrong. There are all kinds of long-lived cultures who eat all kinds of diets, and they do very well. Mm-hmm. But the common links are generally lots of fruits and vegetables. So the more the better. Maintaining a very high-stress life so that it affects you physiologically. Mm. So some people have stress and they don't handle it well, and they get sick and depressed and stuff. That doesn't go well. Some people can handle higher levels and do pretty well, but people who are feeling not feeling the stress, that's good. And so it depends on the person what that looks like. And probably the most important thing across all of it is maintaining good relationships with people. So that's probably the most predictive. If you look at all the long-lived cultures around the world, and there are people who study those things, they all have really meaningful social lives. They look different. Sometimes they're with friends, sometimes within families. But they have very connected lives with other people.
So that's interesting.
So that's everyday living stuff. But when my students are done taking my class, they open a bank account, they start exercising, they stop drinking so much.
For the next 70
let's
years.
see, what is the next thing?
Have a tight social circle.
Yeah, they start talking to their parents and getting to know their grandparents because they realize they're not going to be around forever.
That matters.
Yeah, they do. Those are the things that they like. I want to believe that they change their everyday living because of what they learn. I hope.
Well, like I said, you're in an applicable field, right? This stuff matters to everyone. So hopefully they do.
Yeah.
But regarding that social circles, does it matter if somebody's an introvert and extrovert? Does that have long-term implications?
No. Being an introvert and extrovert, as far as I know, there's no difference in terms of longevity or health. They're just variations. So what it means to have a meaningful social life
changes. I see.
Yeah.
So you could have one really good friend. Some people need
several. Actually, the research says 2 really good friends. So the question we tell everyone is, what if you had a terrible thing happen in the middle of the night and you needed help? And you needed to contact someone that wasn't a family member. You have 2 people you could call. If you can say yes to that, you're doing pretty well. If you don't, you need to work on it. Tackle your friendships just like you'd tackle, eating a healthy diet and
you gotta
exercising. It's part of it's a lifestyle thing. Having good friends.
Wow.
That's what I say. You have to have at least 2 you could call in the middle of the night in an emergency. That's special name. Yeah.
Hey, Rob in chat, dang, I'm 0 for 5.
Yeah, well, hopefully you still have time.
Introverts unite, yes.
Yeah.
Ninja Physics, feel free to call me if you have an emergency in the middle of the night.
Okay, I'm going to try one more and see if I can beat 93. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Okay.
So let's throw up a prediction, a science-based prediction for you guys. So this is related to the discussion we had. Don mentioned 5 important things. This question is going to be, what's more important to longevity? Is this causal or is this corollary?
Well, you can't do perfect causal tests when it comes to stuff I'm going to have people do this and then see who dies first.
Yeah.
So, we do fancy statistics to kind of control for the causal stuff, but it's never perfect. So I would say it's as close as we can get.
So the question right now is, what's more influential to longevity? And this is length of life as well as quality of life.
Yes.
Is it education or is it exercise? Which of those two things is more important to longevity? Education or exercise? Throw your bets in now. If you're not following, click the follow button. Use your standard internet units. Spend them on making a prediction here. So, more influential to longevity, education or exercise? Sorry to interrupt. I was gonna get the definition out there. Is there anything else you want to add without giving away the answer?
No, I think that's pretty good. I think that's, when we say most important, it's like, what if you were to predict who's going to live a longer life, what factor would be most, what is the thing that's going to give you the most information about their likelihood of living a long life?
Guy doing guy things. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. 2 months. Again, welcome back. Enjoy your tier 1 emotes. We now have 5 of them, so enjoy all 5 of those. Ethanol, Rage, Mr. Big. We also have Deity Carl or Euphoria or Enlightenment, as well as good games, so please enjoy. Yes, Don, we have another important question in chat. What are we drinking tonight?
Oh, we're drinking tequila.
We are sipping tequila tonight. Yeah. So we are drinking the Herradura tequila. This is silver, 100% de agave, 40% ethanol by content. And so, yeah, this is Don's request, not mine. So I'm happy to oblige. So yeah, we're sipping gently. So Alex Rob has redeemed Take a Drink.
That is a lot of tequila. Okay.
So we'll pause and cheers to
all right.
Again.
I can do that.
Don, thank you for joining me. Cheers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers to everyone else. Thank you for joining us on Wednesday night. Hopefully you are also sipping tequila. If not, you should be.
Unless you're not 21, then you definitely should not be.
That's true.
Yeah.
your son is watching this, but don't.
I'm pretty safe there.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any in the house, so it's good.
All right. So more influential to longevity, the outcome here. So we have a 9-to-1 people putting education over exercise. What is the answer?
Oh, right. So I can tell you the answer?
Yep.
All right, it's education.
Education is more important than exercise.
It is.
Curious how much this, probably have a pretty educated audience. I don't know if this was optimism or they actually knew the answer.
I know. I think I might have given away the answer a little bit earlier. Did I? Talking about my students. Maybe.
Sorry, a guy, you lost your 110 SIUs.
You got to give it a try.
Just keep watching, you'll get your points back. It's worth it.
Yeah, education matters because it's correlated with lots of things. People who get an education also engage in a whole bunch of other healthy behaviors. They have friends who are like them. You tend to have social connections with people who are more similar to you. You meet them at work, so you have similar, jobs and stuff. So that's why education seems to be more important. But it also teaches you skills. So when you go to college, you learn all kinds of important skills, how to think, you learn, how to work hard. And those things pay off over time, both in terms of like the kind of job you get. So it opens doors with the credentials you get. So you just have, an easier life when you have a job in general than when you get a college degree. So that's why.
So it's not saying exercise doesn't matter.
It is not saying that exercise is very important. Yeah. It's just that if you're highly educated, you're also more likely to exercise, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, everyone I know goes to the gym. I should too.
Well, also the financial stability and flexibility.
Yeah. If you're working like several jobs, you probably can't afford to go to the gym. So that's a big, big, big part. That's exactly right.
Really underappreciated. Like the saying, it's more expensive to be poor. Like financially, that's true, but also like behaviorally, that's true.
It's absolutely. This is also one of the things I tell my students. Like, don't be poor. Like, do whatever you can, but don't be poor. It really has awful consequences for your health and well-being. It's like one of the worst things. And that's a silly thing to say. It's meant to be kind of like, haha. People don't ever choose to be poor. But it's really important to realize that like that's a really, really bad thing for health.
Yeah.
Is to not have it. It's not that being rich matters. It's that just being poor is one of the, you don't have access to the things you need to lead a healthy life.
That's interesting. I'd be curious to see the correlation between life expectancy and like minimum wage in a country. Like it should
hugely
be directly
correlated. Yes, absolutely hugely correlated.
So they're literally, when they're voting against increasing minimum wage, they're voting against life expectancy.
Oh, 100%. If you don't care about poor people, it means that you don't care. You believe that that wealthy people and people who have the opportunity to go to college deserve to live longer lives, essentially. But if you believe in equality, or trying to minimize inequalities, then you absolutely care a lot about trying to keep people from being poor.
A guy doing guy things. Don't exercise equals success. I got it. You were not listening.
No, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Ninja Physics had a follow-up. Plus, being poor puts you in danger of living next to places like refineries, which pollute, for example, in those fence line communities.
That's exactly right. I mean, the opportunities, all the things that come with poverty. Yes.
And so is that a branch of your research? I think you mentioned that.
Well, as a sociologist, it's always a branch of what we study. Yeah. I mean, we care about understanding inequality because it is a huge part of what we know matters for living in a good society. A good society is not one where only some people can thrive. So we're trying to figure out what can we do to make sure that everyone has a chance. And, I think it's a sort of a social justice thing to say, I think that everyone should have the opportunity to, lead a healthy, long life. And if you just pick the wrong parents, it seems unfair.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. So you can do a pretty good prediction of life expectancy based on the day they're born to what situation.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Right. In the United States, not in every country, but happens to be the case here.
So clearly they haven't heard about bootstraps and whatnot.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. All right. So this is either J. Andrew Stone or Jan Drew Stone. Dawn, do you have at least 2 good friends to bail you out of jail?
I do. I have more than 2. I'm very lucky to say I have many friends.
Is that on top of a significant other?
On top of a significant other, yeah.
But in terms of the 2 you need, it has to be on top of.
I know. What do you think of that?
Is
that a big ask?
Not really. I have plenty of internet friends. I'm fine.
I'm dying. How did I do? I only got to 54. See, I'm a little hit and miss.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Like,
your error
which one
bars
did
are
you
pretty high on this. We are the internet, exactly. Introverts reunite, as they said earlier.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you expect to be asked if you have at least 2 good friends to bail you out of jail?
I did not. Bail me out of jail. I do. I have at least 2 good friends. I would say I have at least 5.
That's awesome.
I guess that's saying I'm doing well in my social relationships.
Longevity. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to keep Tetrising or do you want to switch over?
Let's switch gears.
All right.
I can see that I'm hit and miss with Tetris. I only do well some of the time.
So we have Super Mario Brothers and Rad Racer. Which one do you want?
Ooh, do Super Mario Brothers.
All right, Super Mario Brothers Infinite Lives is active. Let's do it.
Oh, so that's a good thing because I'm gonna need it. Okay, so the last time I regularly played this, I never had this at in my house. So I had to play this at a friend's house. So you're gonna already see. Oh my goodness. Okay, I really gotta figure this out.
So B makes you run fast, and then A.
All right.
There you go. We're doing the learning curve right now.
Oh, right on task here. Okay, I'm going to figure this out.
All right, anyone just joining us, we have Dr. Don Carr, who's a gerontologist, studies life and life expectancy and aging and factors that influence aging, and is also playing Mario for the first time in...
long enough. 30 years.
30 years?
Maybe longer, actually.
Coming back, muscle memory.
Oh, I don't know. Somehow, I feel like I just weirdly remember these things. Okay, watch as I accidentally die. Can I get up there? I can. Haha. Oh, man. Okay.
Oh, and you're okay, but not this one.
Okay.
We are going to celebrate level 1 victory. Oh, you can fire. You're Fire Mario. So
I'm fire.
you can
Oh, I
shoot.
totally didn't know that. That's way more fun. Forgot about Fire Mario.
That is a deathless level 1.
Oh, that was not good. That was lame. Come on.
There we go. Good game. Well done.
Yay.
It's the little victories.
Oh,
Spot redeemed.
I have to take a drink.
Take another drink.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers, Don. Cheers, everyone.
All right.
Thank you for joining us. Think off screen. Cheers to the first level down.
Yeah.
This is a classic. This game
Okay.
is
Oh,
sold,
I still have
this
firepower.
game has sold something like 65 million copies or something ridiculous like that. So
Oh, wait. So what happens when you have fire and you get more fire?
nothing. It maxes out at 1 fire.
But still, it's entertaining.
Yes, absolutely. Hamsterlicious, thank you for the bits. Thank you for the cheers. Thank you for being here. More fire is the answer. It's always the answer. You
More
guys have-
fire?
yes, I'll always just. There's a star.
How do I do this? Oh no! What do I
Right,
do
right.
now?
You can shoot him,
But how do I get out of here? I do this. That's how.
or you can duck. Cheers, better late than never. Forgot how to click things. We appreciate the bits again. You guys don't have to. We're not in it for the funding, but you are helping pay for our drinking habit, so we appreciate that. Helps out on that front. There are jokes about the Mario generation when they reach retirement home. Is there any indication about aging difference between the younger, more technologically proficient generation compared to past generations?
Technologically proficient. That's going to be impossible to study because you can't study 2 generations at the same time and test them and see which ones turn out the best. But there are definitely lots of opinions about which cohorts. Oh man, see, that's when I. But you know, different generations have different characteristics, so people study them, and you know, people have predictions about what it's going to be like. Some people are sort of doom and gloom, like every generation things get worse.
Yeah.
And then others are like every generation things get better. I tend to lean more in the direction of the latter. I'm pretty much an optimist. So, but technology could be a really great thing and it could be totally detrimental. But the people who are old now mostly didn't have technology and had to learn it, which was good for their brains. It's been useful for their brains. But the ones who are reaching later life now, like the younger baby boomers, they've used technology for most of their adult life. So this is not new for them at all. But they're using slightly different technologies. So I don't know how they.
I mean, so that's interesting. So there's like the dexterous, like, you know, knowledge of using technology, but also technology as a tool for communication. It opens up channels that didn't exist.
Oh, at that.
So like deconvoluting
Absolutely.
those. That's tough.
Oh, there we go. I got to get big again. Look at that. Yeah, it's almost impossible to differentiate. Oh man, and just at the wrong time. It's almost impossible to differentiate what things work best for the most people. But one thing we know is like people who have access to clean water, education, all the things that ultimately, you know, keep you thriving, they do well. And previous generations didn't have clean water. Like before 1920, we didn't have clean water, so we died young. And we didn't have the care we needed, so when you had a baby, you were more likely to die in childbirth, stuff like that. So all that to say, the current generations haven't made, but there's a huge amount of inequality in, you know, who has access to those things. So certainly not everybody is going to do well.
Well, so that's, I guess, the difference between, or one of the difference between my field and your field is I generate the data that I use. You're relying on different data sets. What do you use? What do you get?
Yeah,
that
that's
from?
good. I actually do both. I collect my own data and I use existing data. Apparently, I'm not good at jumping.
I guess I should have differentiated. Like we make the data, like we manually do.
And it is different. So we use surveys when we're looking at like population level data. So that's one of the things we do. So like Matt Howard, so you talked to Matt, he uses population level data, and that's exclusively what he does. What I use is data that's often collected by the federal government, because we're trying to evaluate, like, how are we doing, and some of the real basic things that we need to know about humans in the United States. And a lot of it depends on funding. For instance, like who gets, what states get which resources, and so forth. So some of those data are collected for policy reasons, and a big part of what we're doing is shaping policy.
So who collects that data? Is this like a CDC thing?
Yeah,
Or is it...
so the CDC, the National Health Interviews Survey is collected, I think, through the CDC. And we have data that's like census-related data. So the census is a really big part of it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but the data I use is collected by researchers. I'm most well known for my work with collecting data on longitudinal studies, and one in particular I use a lot is the health and retirement study, which is a longitudinal study that's been going on for a really long time, since 1992, and so we're able to evaluate how people change over time and what factors influence those changes. So it's not, the data are funded by the federal government, but
you're actually acquiring the data. You're doing the surveys, and
I'm not collecting the data. The University of Michigan is collecting the data. So I just use those data, and they're publicly available. So that's kind of a new thing now for science and social science is that the data are expected to be available for anybody to look at. And that's a big factor, is trying to make sure that the data are...
It's coming
I
for
know,
you.
it's coming out for me.
All right, it's gone.
Yeah, so the data have to be made available for anyone to look at so that everyone can confirm your research findings. So how do you jump? Oh my gosh, I just figured it out. This has been a long time.
Yep, just jumping at the right time. I think it might be on the downswing. I don't remember.
Let's see.
So when I speedrun this game, I don't ever play these levels. Skip most of them.
How do you do that?
There's a couple warps on different levels.
Oh man, it's hard. Remember this. There we go. Oh, and I should have jumped.
So how do they keep, the longitudinal study, it's hard to keep track of people for, you're talking decades, right?
No, seriously. They're really good at it too. So they talk to the same people, and
so
you have to pay them,
like
right?
Social Security? Like, how do you?
So they contact them from random, I can't remember how the original group, probably regular phones was how they did it originally. Now cell phones. And so they have these abilities to look at phone banks and contact people, and they might even use addresses, and they do a random selection of people in a community, and then they identify one person in a household, and they're the ones selected.
I see.
And so if they agree to participate, then they're in the group, and then they sample accordingly to make sure that the sample is representative of society and people like them. So, that's an important part of the research. So we can then look at the data and say, okay, this is what's going on in the United States. And I study almost exclusively people who are in the United States. So
that makes sense.
And then, we can look at them as they change over time. So some people do really well. And the people I study are people over 50. So you don't think of that as old, especially when you get closer to 50. But in fact, it was a big day when I told my husband, I'm like, hey, you're old enough now to be in one of my research studies. He didn't really like that so much.
He didn't celebrate with you.
He was like, hey, I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, so I study aging, not just like exclusively old people.
Whoa, that shot you down fast.
Yeah, it did.
It's a rage.
So yeah, but I'm interested. A lot of the things that I'm interested in are like retirement and what happens when you retire. So you got to start watching people at 50 because they're getting close to retirement age.
It starts to matter.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting that the data we So I do collect my own data sometimes as well, but it's a lot harder and it's so expensive. So that's part of the reason. It's millions and millions and millions of dollars. And so that's part of the reason, like the National Institute of Health requires that if you collect these data, that you're going to make sure everyone, it's publicly available for researchers, because there's no way I could, every single person could collect a nationally representative survey of Americans, and it would be inefficient too, right? So, it's good that we can use that.
Uncle Bill, welcome to the stream. Yeah, fellow
What was that sound?
EDU enthusiast. He is now hosting our stream. Thank you, Uncle Bill. He said he was going to swing by for the gerontologist. Uncle Bill might be in the 50-year-old and over category.
Nice.
He's very curious.
Yeah. What are you curious about?
Bill, any questions you have for gerontologist Don Carr, throw them in chat right now. Anyone else, if you guys want to know things, throw them in there. We are happy to answer your questions. We'll let them as we go. Guess you could repeat the 5 critical things. What were the 5? We should probably hammer this home repeatedly throughout the night.
Eat fruits and vegetables. Lots of fruits and vegetables.
Yep.
Exercise, any amount is good. More is better. Doing it all the time, habits. It's about having good habits. It's really the answer.
Yeah.
Not maintaining so much stress that it affects your health. So that you want to make sure that you don't have, you're not unhappy, right? So depression, mental health problems is bad. That took me a long time to get through.
It's worth it.
Let's see. What was the other one?
Savings.
Making sure you're not poor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a silly thing to say, but
it's important.
The point is making sure that you have the things you need to have sufficient money. And there's no evidence that being wealthy is relevant at all. It's just not being poor that matters, right? And then, of course, maintaining a good social life is the big one, and probably the thing people are maybe find the hardest to believe.
Yeah. So
but
the take home for the night,
loneliness is so bad for you.
The take home for the night is you need at least 2 people that can bail you out of prison. That is what we've learned from gerontologist Dr. Don Carr.
Oh, I mean,
quote her on
there
that.
You go. At least 2 people that can bail you out of prison. Nice. Yeah.
That's a threshold of friendship, right?
I know. It's good. I actually think that's pretty good. I might have to use this now. Yeah, prison. I said, problems, but I feel like prison's a pretty good example of a problem.
Yeah, no, that's and like if they're willing to bail you out of prison, they are a good
They must
friend,
be. Yeah,
right?
they must
But
also believe in you, right?
Like someone giving you a ride is very different than someone bailing you out of prison.
This is true.
Presumably they're well off too, but
there is that issue. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you did. How off they need to do. If you just got a little cranky at a bar, maybe not as much as doing something unsavory. I don't know.
That's fair. Should be metrics. You can make the Carr scale of
I know the Carr friendship scale. I mean, I could become famous for that.
Get it named after you. It's perfect. And then I'm sure there's really clever metrics you could use. Uncle Bill said it just in with a plate of dinner after a day of yard work. 2 out of the 5 items checked off.
All right, good.
Perfect.
I got into an argument that correlation is not causation. Oh, it started a bar brawl. See, that gets you into prison. Then we bring it full circle.
It depends what side of the argument you were on. That might justify bailing you out.
There you go. I love it.
Man.
Oh my God.
I mean, I think what's more important to that argument was what the topic was at the time.
Yeah, this is true.
That probably what actually started the fight. But many of bar arguments, at least when I was a postdoc, that used to happen. But not so much anymore.
Yeah, and you were a postdoc where?
UNC Chapel Hill.
Oh, so same as me.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
I didn't realize it was postdoc too.
Yeah, so Top of the Hill was our go-to. That was our Friday night bar of choice.
I started my postdoc with an almost 3-year-old and a 2-month-old, so I was not doing a lot of bar hopping.
Yeah. No, that completely makes sense.
Yeah.
And then my circumstance now.
It's pretty much also not sleeping.
Uncle Bill, the old saying is, a real friend is the one sitting next to you in the cell saying, dang, that was fun.
Oh, somehow
that
this took a
completely
left
ruins
turn.
your scale, though. Because if you're in jail with the
I
two people,
know.
that would bail you out.
Oh, that does, it kind
Oh,
of screws
man.
things. That's why you have to have more than 2 at that point.
Yeah.
That's the issue. When you're talking about jail, you might need 5. Somebody's got to be available.
2
And they
for
can't all be with
longevity.
you.
2 for longevity, 5 to get you out of jail. Oh man, I hope
Oh, my
this really
goodness.
does spark something in your brain. You're like, we can quantify this. We can actually make a scale of this.
Oh, I'm going to have to talk to the experts in this area and say, we need to make some modifications to your scale. I know it's
Yeah.
famous and all, and
Yeah.
it's been a while.
Get with the times.
Yeah.
Do you have at least 3 internet friends? Do you have
3 internet
2 drinking buddies? Do you have?
Oh, my goodness.
I like it. Oh, Ninja Physics has redeemed the first request of factoid of the night.
Oh, factoid. Okay. All right. So what's factoid? Here's a good one. What if your friends have friends? This is true. I mean, that is a big thing. Factoid. Okay. So one of the things that I think, oh man, I lost that. A factoid. How well your brain functions after you retire is dependent on the kind of job you had before you retired.
Interesting.
So, and you might say, like, in what way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about it, what kind of job you have influences how your brain works. So the stuff you do on an everyday basis influences the kind of neural networking that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And so that neural networking influences how your brain works every day. And one of the most important things for brain health is having more complex networking. And how do you get that? By engaging in novel things. I was doing so well.
That was so close.
I know. So doing different things on a regular basis is really helpful. So learning every day. So you think about that. If you have a job where this is the infamous example, you're a person who collects money at a toll booth, you don't have a lot of novel activities that you engage in on a regular basis. And so you don't develop a lot of neural networks. And so your brain might function pretty well for the basic stuff you got to do. But when you retire and you don't have that going on anymore, those people tend to have pretty significant decline in their cognitive function.
Oh, really?
For people who do more cognitively complex stuff, they don't experience any decline when they retire. So it's pretty interesting how much of an impact it makes. So we call this cognitively complex. So if you have a cognitively complex job, you tend to have more.
We're taking that one.
I know, a little cheat. So if you have a cognitively complex job, then you tend to have more neural networks and you're kind of more resilient for a long time. So you can retire and you tend to like maintain your health pretty well. Part of that too is that people who have more complex jobs, they often do other stuff too. Like they're interested in reading and not just watching TV, which incidentally, I'm a total anti-TV person because it's not all TV is bad, but if a lot of people, the only thing they do is watch TV after they retire, and that's pretty bad, as you can imagine.
So it's not applying a cognitive load. It's not.
Yeah, it's not doing anything beneficial. It's making you actually have burn fewer calories watching TV than you do sleeping. Like that's a factoid for you right there.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow.
So TV it's something about, it's like very much like you're just not really doing, I mean, you're so disengaged. And it's just really.
Oh, springs back. Nice.
Hey, look, I learned something. See, noveling.
Cognitive load.
I know.
I mean, that's a good question. So video games, I mean, depending on the nature of the game, it gives you some stimuli, some unique pattern and responses. So
Yeah.
Thank you for the follow. Oh, by the way, Reese's Pieces requested take a drink. So
Oh, I got to get more.
Cheers again. Do you want more of the tequila or do you want to try the can?
Yeah, let's try the can.
All right.
Let's switch gears. I can grab it. All right. All right, sounds good. Do I do ice or no ice on this one?
I mean, it's cold already. It's probably okay.
All right, I'll just drink it as is.
Can.
All right, let's see. Cheers.
All right, cheers.
All right.
Thank you all for joining us. So we have an ethanol emote. The guy doing guy things also redeemed take a drink. They're trying to get us drunk.
I know. Another one? Okay, there's two.
Oh, that is interesting. All right, so we are drinking.
It's pretty good. I like that one.
We're drinking Cutwater Grapefruit Tequila Paloma. You guys can see that.
I've never tried this before.
And so that's what we're trying. It's kind of like a margarita with carbonation. It's actually pretty good. I was a little surprised.
I like
Debbie picked this up because she thought it was interesting, and it is.
I agree.
So kudos to Debbie.
I'll drink anything but with grapefruit. Yeah, I'm with you there. It's good.
I'd strongly recommend this because I usually don't like grapefruit, but again, it's subtle. So yeah, Cutwater. Not everything. That's fair.
I can't. I learned, but that I didn't develop enough experience to develop a new neural network.
You need that long-term.
That's a problem. Yeah.
Minerva Muffin, thank you for the follow again. Thank you for joining us at Ask a Scientist Gaming. Mediocre gameplay, expert level science. We'll see. Mediocre gameplay. Nice.
Hey,
Perfect.
I get by the seat of my pants sometimes.
I like it. But yeah, again, thank you. Minerva Muffin, if you have questions for Don Carr, anything about health and aging, well-being, factors that affect, well-being in late life, Don is happy to answer any questions you guys have. Oh, Ninja Physics, I missed one and I apologize when we were talking about data acquisition. So since census data is not disaggregated by race from what I remember, so we don't know exactly who's affected in that regard, how do you factor that into your findings?
Differentiate by race? Yes, it is.
All right, so the answer is
differentiate by race. So what they release to the public in a report is not the same as the data made available to everybody.
I see.
So the census collects certain data, and they don't release everything. Some things are hidden because it's possible to identify someone, and so some of it's more. It depends on who the researcher is, whether or not they can have access to the details. But when I download census data, I can definitely differentiate by race. So what was the other part of that question?
I was just how do you factor that into your findings, but you don't have to.
I don't have to. There. In fact, we always take into consideration race because it's highly correlated with so much because of structural racism. It permeates all of our lives and the way that we live. So
so I'll follow up on that. Is there some data set or question you wish was on the census that would make your life easier?
Well, this is why I use a different data set. The census is useful for figuring out how long people live, and you can disaggregate mortality rates by race to some degree. There isn't every race group that we can look at, but I use a different data set because I'm interested in the psychosocial aspects of aging. There's all kinds of stuff that people feel and experience, and it explains so much more about how well they do than the real basic things. Education matters immensely, but there's a whole bunch of other things that pair with education. It's education is big, but it's not sufficient to, all by itself when we're trying to understand what works and what doesn't work. So the data sets that get at the psychosocial aspects, so the things like how much people have a sense of mastery over their lives.
That's interesting.
Those things can matter quite a lot. So a lot of my work recently has been looking at resilience and what the characteristics of resilience and what causes people to be more resilient, and how that relates to health. And what we find is that it really matters a lot. So people who have characteristics that make them more resilient, they live longer lives, they maintain their health longer, and that sort of thing.
And resilience, how do you see that in this data set?
So we actually been looking at the characteristics that they report. So they answer a bunch of questions, and we look at their answers to those questions, and we can measure their characteristics. their resilient characteristic.
All right, we got some questions to follow up. Uncle Bill says, I remember reading a study on a group of nuns that is related to Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Looking back on the journal entries of the nuns that developed a disease revealed in journal entries that were low effort writing. Those that didn't have journals that were clearly written and displayed effort at cognitive function, as you said. Are you familiar with this study?
Yes, the nun study, Snowden.
It's known as the nun study.
Known as the nun study. And
That's awesome.
They actually, what they did was they did autopsies of the brains of nuns, and what they were looking at is their engagement behaviors, actually. So they were looking at basically what do the nuns do in their free time. Mm-hmm. And they looked at nuns who engaged in social and active engagement. They were mostly interested in things that made them, not paying attention. That caused them to basically use their brains more. Mm-hmm. And it's a pretty cool study because if you think about it, of all the environments you could study, nuns have fairly consistent lifestyles, right?
Yeah.
Across the board.
Good control set.
Yeah, exactly. So you can compare the two, and what they find is that the nuns who engaged in more socially and cognitively engaging activities were ones who had better outcomes. So basically, they could have symptoms that made them seem like they had cognitive function problems or not, and that was just one factor that mattered. So if they did an autopsy, some people's brains, some nuns' brains looked like they had Alzheimer's, but they never showed any symptoms. Huh. Basically, they were able to cover up their cognitive issues. So that's where they started saying, I think there's something here to the type of, lifestyle behaviors that we engage in and that it matters for whether you have cognitive function. So the nuns that had brains that looked like they had Alzheimer's but they didn't have any symptoms, basically what they're doing is they are able to use parts of their brain to compensate. And so this notion of compensation is a big part of aging that we know matters a whole heck of a lot. So our ability to compensate for deficiencies in various ways, right?
So this is a landmark study. Like this was a big.
It was, Snowden. Yep. I mean, it was the first one where I think they were able to say, we saw correlations, but because they live similar lifestyles, it's a pretty compelling thing to observe. But most of the studies that have occurred since then have really refined that and said, is it really their brain use? Is it, so they were doing crossword puzzles and all kinds of things that, do crossword puzzles matter? And so there was a time where everyone's like, oh, you should, do Sudoku. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, that don't. The only thing doing Sudoku does is get you to be really good at Sudoku. I mean, Sudoku is better than a lot of other things like these brain games that, people can sign up for.
Yeah.
There's almost no evidence that does anything for you long term, except get you really good at those games.
Wait, so we're going to count that as your factoid. So Bell's Tech has requested redeem a factoid, and your answer is Sudoku does not help mental health and well-being?
Just doing, doing crossword puzzles and Sudoku and all that, it's not going to protect you from getting Alzheimer's.
So not Sudoku and not...
But I would say, if I had to pick between, like all the different options of cognitive activities, like reading's a pretty good one. Mm-hmm. Not watching TV, anything that involves not watching TV is generally better for you.
Presumably it matters what you read, though.
It does matter what you read, yeah.
So romance novel is not the same as nonfiction.
100%.
Yeah.
So if you think about novelty, the point is not to memorize tasks, but to learn new information. And if you're engaging in behaviors that involve learning new information and doing things that make you uncomfortable, it's generally a good thing. So that would be, there's my factoid.
No, that's perfect. That folded in there really nicely.
All right.
Speaking of which, Walter Boot, who's a psychology professor,
hi, Wally.
studies.
Yeah.
So he's not here, but he's going to be a guest on
He's
Scientist Gaming.
He's one of my colleagues. We work together regularly.
He's going to be a good source for those kinds of games, learning.
That's exactly what he does. He's awesome for that. And we have one of his big grants that I'm on. I'm one of we have a couple of projects going. But Wally is awesome. His research is super interesting.
And studies like tracking eye motion and car simulated driving. And
Yep.
So we will follow up on all this when he's on. So that'll be really fun.
Really, really interesting.
All right, so we got our factoid there. Uncle Bill followed up. I can imagine nunnery attracts both extremes too, those that want to lose themselves to simply menial work and avoid thought, and those who seek peace for study.
And that's true. One thing we don't really know about the benefits of being a nun is the extent to which like meditation matters, right? So there's some sort of general evidence that those kinds of things matter a lot.
Yeah.
But there's not as much research on that as we'd like to see.
I'm really curious, like the first getting that data set, like they had to reach out to a convent and get permission, and
they had to get a lot of money too. You got it, right? Because you have to pay for all of these. I just can't do this level. Okay. You have to pay to get all these autopsies, right? And you have to. Can you think about all that? So we have to do what's called IRB. So we're institutional review board, where we're trying to make sure that we're treating people with respect and maintaining their confidentiality. So it helps when people are dead. They don't have the same. You can study people and not have to identify them and worry about them in the same way, but you also have to protect, their information. Even then, there's all kinds of, ethical reasons why you don't want to reveal who you're studying. So we have to be careful about that. So those are challenging aspects of that type of research, but. Just the amount of effort to collect those data and to have them keep a diary of their activities. And it's intense research.
Yeah.
But, they're not studying 50,000 people. They're studying a smaller sample to start with. And so that's the other issue. People like me, we have a mix of small samples where we're trying to understand phenomena, and then big samples when we're trying to understand what happens in the broader society. And depending on what we're studying,
well, presumably, no matter what, you need the small sample first to get money for the big data.
Almost always, you bet. So and that's always a challenge, getting the money you need to actually do the research that you need to have. Yeah. So that's why these bigger data sets can be so useful, because you can learn a lot from people we're just watching over time in these national data sets. So
Bell's Tech, a guy, we're going to get back to your question, Hamster Delicious, as well, but Bell's Tech had a follow-up. Are there any games that do help you with mental well-being, as far as you know?
As far as I know, no.
It's not to say they don't exist. They're just not.
It's just hard to study that. So I should say that's not true. And Wally will tell you differently. There are some that do show some efficacy for effects, but the issue is we're trying to not see just short-term effects. We're wanting to see, like, can it change the trajectory of your cognitive function? Is there something that's going to keep your brain from declining? And people are terrified of losing their cognitive abilities. They're more scared about losing their cognitive abilities than almost anything else.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. I'm more scared of that than anything like that.
Yeah, like
it's one thing to lose an arm, like that's terrible, but like losing your brain, that's you.
Yeah.
I get it.
My father-in-law, who passed away about 3 years ago, he used to tell everyone he loved, he's like, if I ever become a banana, you got to shoot me in the head. This was what he would say. Yeah, I don't know why you said that. It was very funny.
Usually vegetables, but we'll go with fruits.
I don't know. He always said a banana. I don't know. I become a banana. Yeah. So we like, if you say, oh, you're becoming a banana, that's like not a good thing, apparently. But, the other thing that I think people don't realize is that it's only our culture that we care so much about whether or not we have full cognitive function. Like, you can actually be quite happy and not have full cognitive function.
Good point.
I mean, this is like, it's okay. I think because when you're a professor, I mean,
exactly.
Ignorance is bliss a little bit. But I mean, when you're a professor and you put so much of your identity on what you know, I think that's hard to kind of imagine.
It's a different lifestyle.
Yeah, I think it's hard for you to I can't survive if I don't have cognitive function. But That's okay. I think there are definitely lots of meaningful ways to live your life. What isn't good is like, what you think of when people who have Alzheimer's disease and whose families suffer for a long time because they lose their ability to get to know them. I think it's rough to lose someone that way, slowly and over time. But there's actually quite a lot of evidence that you can have a lot of meaning in your life, even up until in those later phases of dementia. There's moments of happiness. And I think one of the things that people in my area study is like quality of life matters immensely. I was doing so
well. There it is. Bowser's right there. It's right on there. I know. Yep, he's coming up. So
my thumbs are going to get blisters again, like they did when I was, 8.
That's why we like using the original controller, because there's nothing quite like induced arthritis.
There really is. I love it.
I don't know if you've seen modern controllers, but they're ergonomic, right?
They are. I didn't even think about that.
Correctly, not early gaming. No, they're just like, fuck your hands, we're playing.
Yeah, I definitely remember that. Yeah, it's like no OXO good grips for gaming.
Exactly. Oh, Bell's Tech has redeemed Take a Drink.
All right.
They have. Thank you. Cheers, Bell's Tech. Thank you for joining us.
Here, I'll take another one just because.
Yeah. Cheers.
Okay, that's going to help me get past the dragon.
Absolutely.
Right?
No, they're behind you. It's hype. Let's get some Carr.
Oh. I got too cocky.
Fine.
No good.
We're only 2 drinks in. We're okay. All right, we have a bunch of questions to catch up on here. A Guy Doing Guy Things. Dr. Carr, have you heard of Eric Klinzenberg's book, Places for the People, about social infrastructure like parks, public transportation, and food options?
I think he means Eric Kleinenberg.
Kleinenberg. I pronounced
it right?
Correctly.
Yes, I do. In fact, I had dinner with him when he came to give a talk in Tallahassee about his new book.
All right.
He gave a talk at, and now I'm trying to remember what the place is, South Monroe. Kind of a cool little venue. Can't think of the name of it. Yeah, I think it's Monroe. The problem is I hadn't lived here long enough when I went, so I didn't really know where I was going. It's like a bar that also has kind of a performance hall. But anyway, it was really cool. It's an absolutely spectacular book. I haven't read it all. I've just read excerpts. But his work was one of the things that really... He had a previous book that was based on his dissertation on the heat wave in Chicago. That is one of my all-time favorite sociology books. And this new one is really interesting. So I haven't had a chance to read more than a few excerpts, but I have a lot of respect, and he was an excellent performer when he came to talk about his book. So I can tell you that.
Good presenter?
Yeah, he was phenomenal. I learned a lot.
I mean, so the broader picture, so his area of interest is public infrastructure and how that affects being?
I mean, what he was looking at here was, that stupid fireball, man, it just gets me every time.
Yeah.
He was kind of showing the importance of these public infrastructure and how important it is to our health. And, I have another factoid, but I can...
Someone request a factoid quick.
I know. I have another factoid related to this if you want to hear it. So here's my factoid. There's a lot of research on
social
engagement.
Ask a Scientist game.
There we go.
Request a factoid. So does the Guy Doing Guy Things and Uncle Bill.
Oh, good.
Factoid request.
Oh, God. I don't know if I can do
knowledge bombs right now.
Ooh. Maybe I can wrap it into one. So here's one. We know that our staying socially active is important. And one of the things that was shown... All right. Got past the level.
Good gig.
So
well
we
done.
know that being socially engaged is really important. And so the meta-analysis that was done in 2010 that showed that being lonely is bad for your health, or worse for your health than smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Wow.
Yeah. Pack and a half a day.
There's your factoid.
There's your factoid. So being lonely is bad. Being lonely is super bad. And It's part of the reason that Eric Kleinenberg's research is so interesting and important is he's trying to show that it's not just, you think about being lonely as a personal problem, but actually it's not. It's related to the environment that we're living in. And if you live in a neighborhood, like we actually live in the same neighborhood, so I can say it's a really social neighborhood. You can take a walk and you see people around. It's because it's a, we're very privileged to live in an area where there's a lot of people who are interested in exercise, who are, doing similar things, as we are. They're interested in things that we're interested in. We have groups online that connect. There's all kinds of things about our particular environment, our particular neighborhood that make it a really healthy neighborhood, I'll just say. And you can also live in an area where somebody mentioned earlier, pollutants or electric, all those things that can cause really bad health outcomes, right?
Next to a highway, next to any loud noise source.
Really bad. But you can modify those things by having places where everyone can go and meet, right? So like he's interested in particularly libraries. And libraries hold an interesting value because not only, I didn't know they could jump down like that.
I forgot that they don't.
Holy cow, they didn't disappear.
Like on Mario 3 and Super Mario World, that kills them. But I honestly didn't know.
Well,
there we go.
So library is really useful for kind of bringing people together. And I think that COVID probably was like a big eye opener because so many places people use libraries. And his argument was we need to invest in things like libraries because they offer sort of the ability for people to connect and people without means to have the ability to connect and to have things they need to connect. So that's a big factor.
So Guy had a follow-up. The New York subway is a good idea. Everyone uses it regardless of class. And that's an example from this book, apparently.
Absolutely. Yes, it was exactly one of his examples. Yeah, and that's one of the problems with being rich, actually, is that you have money so you don't need people. So one of the interesting things about the research we do, and I don't know if Matt talked about it, is like in terms of race research, Hispanics have very few resources compared to white Americans, non-Hispanic white Americans. And they tend to do extremely well. And this is one of the things that Eric Kleinenberg's first book showed. Actually, Hispanic communities during the 1995 Chicago heat wave did remarkably well. In fact, they did better than everybody else. And they thought, well, that doesn't make sense. They're living in these very poor neighborhoods. But it turned out, of course, it's their social experience. They have very strong family ties, and those family ties support one another. And when you don't have money, you need people, right? To get resources, to have supports. And when you're rich, you don't need people anymore. Right? So this is why, I often say to my kids, like, I don't know very many really happy, rich, like super rich people. And that's partially it. Not to say that you can't, people are like, well, you can buy your happiness to some degree, like with the basics, but you can't buy friendships. People might say you can, but you really cannot buy your friendships. That's why these social environments that we live in and societies where you have a connection. I actually bought a house specifically because of the shape. We talked about the shape. I wanted a house that was circular so that all the rooms were connected so that people wouldn't go off and point. To have a central point and a big open space so that we could have people in that environment. And I teach yoga, so I like.
Oh no!
I thought I had that.
That was close.
That was not cool.
Boo.
So I teach yoga, and I wanted to be able to invite people over to do yoga with me occasionally. And that was because I'm aware of the importance of these community connections. So his work is really fantastic in that way. But Hispanics are a really fascinating group because they do it right with regard to their social connections. And they get past a lot of their, you think these are the things that really matter, but they have such remarkable relationships that it buffers against all kinds of other stuff.
Nice. There we go. All right, going back to the line of questions. Hamsterlicious, do you know if there's any correlation between THC/CBD use and aging rates? I recently saw a study that showed regular use can restructure the heart, and was wondering about how restructuring might have an effect on lifespan.
I would say that I would not buy that research. That sounds sketchy to me. I'm not saying it isn't right, but I am saying there isn't a lot of research that is examining these effects in large studies, large population studies. And until there's a big, large population study looking at all kinds of outcomes, like one of these really expensive national studies, I would be hard pressed to buy anything that says something like restructuring the heart. That sounds like a pretty massive shift in your physiology. And I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying
be skeptical.
I would be skeptical.
I mean, so there's an issue with it being a Schedule 1 drug, right? Because there's certain rules restricting studies.
It's been very hard. And not only that, there are certain types of these substances that are allowed to be studied, like certain strains versus others. And I know that matters as well. So if you have a certain type of marijuana, then it might make a difference, right? We don't actually know that much about those differences.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of studies on pain, and I think a good bit on things like social anxiety and some of those kinds of things that help you feel happier and more comfortable. Those I trust more because I've had bigger, larger scale studies at this point. But big clinical studies, big clinical studies haven't been done on, as far as I know. I mean, maybe it's a brand new study, but I generally am more skeptical.
I mean, it seems like two things that are significantly understudied, especially in the U.S., given our population, is drugs and guns.
Oh, yeah, and that's been restricted from, for political reasons, where there's certain things we're not allowed to study.
So this one is a maze. You have to go a particular path.
Oh, I did not know that.
Do you want backseat driving?
I do want backseat driving.
Okay.
The Super Mario guy here.
I've watched many people play it. I don't skip these levels typically, but I think you have to go the bottom route first. So go up to the top, and then you'll go down.
All right.
Minerva Muffin, redeem, take a drink. Oh, left. Nope. Okay. Keep going.
I go?
Yep.
I can go down?
So you'll have to go the bottom path, but you have to go backwards.
Oh, oops. So I need to go top or bottom?
So you have to go top and then go back down to the bottom. So Minerva, thank you again. Thank you for the follow and thank you for the take a drink. Welcome to Ask a Scientist Gaming. Throw your questions in chat if you have them. All right, Reese's Pieces and Uncle Bill have both comments and questions regarding types of games. What about playing new types of games, potentially learning new games, and how the play might keep your brain longer learning? Yeah. I mean, there's more complex games.
I think so, and that's the thing. Again, like these companies that make a profit from teaching you, brain games or so forth, they tend not to be ones that are necessary. I mean, they might have some effect, and there are some that more recently have shown some level of promise, but the effect size is just very small. Yeah. If you really if your goal is to improve your brain, learn a new language. Don't play video games. I mean, that's really the big thing I would say.
So go up top here.
Okay.
That one, yep. Just run across. Yep.
And now what?
All right. Now it'll take you. So you're going to go up, but don't go too far because you have to go back and down. So
down here?
Yep. So go down here and then left. Nope.
Left.
There's a little opening over here.
Oh, I missed that. Dang it.
So cycle through and you'll get back there again. Sorry for the brief detour.
All right.
But there are modern games that are super complex, like economic trading and all sorts of,
Yeah, and I think there's absolutely good reason to think that there could be a benefit. But I think it depends on what your goal is. Oh, I was supposed to go up?
Yep. So go up the first ones. Sorry, I'm trying to remember this as we go, so hopefully I'm right. It's up here. Yep. Then you're going to go to the right far enough, but you need to go all the way down. See that opening right there? You got to go back through that.
Got it.
Then down. Yep. Brief detour from science. I apologize. All right, now we're Bowser. Oh,
So close.
we have the path, ladies and gentlemen. We know how to do it. We're on our way.
All right.
Yeah, and Uncle Bill had a similar Dr. McLive, who presumably another PhD plays Mass Effect remastered on streams. Overanalyzing every dialogue choice that has a therapist, which is apparently their profession, for a Twitch audience. I can imagine nonlinear role-playing exploration might fill the bill of maybe not necessarily relationships, but pattern development, brain, and whatnot.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
I think that's very, very much a possibility. Like, it's possible those things will help, but I think in terms of, so in science we talk about effect size, like the bigger effect versus a smaller effect. Get a college degree, that's a big effect, regardless of anything else. That's a pretty big effect. Get a college degree. Oh, I jumped in the wrong time. But continuing to engage in things. I mean, the most important thing I would say is, if it makes your brain feel uncomfortable, that's usually a good sign. Right? Like, I always tell my students, like, it's my job to make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's usually what we want to do. Okay, so
you're going up top on the first, up here, up top. Yep. Make your brain feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. That's usually a sign. You're like, oh, it feels like my brain hurts, right?
Yeah.
That's usually a sign. So if you're engaging in gaming that sort of does that,
there we go,
then I would say it might be doing some good.
So if you had to go on the record on Ask a Scientist Gaming YouTube channel,
all right,
TV or video games, I'm going to spend my time.
Definitely video games.
Video games it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, video games definitely more than watching TV. But it depends on if you're watching a documentary. Right? Like, I mean, documentaries can be really good as long as they're not, infomercial documentaries, which there are plenty of.
All right, here's the follow-up.
A game that teaches you math, for sure.
Playing video games or watching Ask a Scientist Gaming?
Oh, definitely watching Ask a Scientist. Are you kidding? There's totally,
good for your health and longevity. You're gonna live
and social engagement, right? Because you're connecting socially.
Absolutely.
So it might not be in person, but it's a reasonable alternative.
All right, you guys heard it here first. Yeah. Gerontologist Don Carr. Watch Ask a Scientist Gaming, you'll live longer. I'm quoting you, I'm sorry.
That works for me.
Come back to haunt you someday.
Nah, won't cause me any harm. Yeah.
Oh, I like it. All right, to anyone just joining us, again, this is Ask a Scientist Gaming, mediocre gameplay, expert level science. Guest today is Don Carr, who's a gerontologist who studies factors that influence aging. If you have any questions, throw them in chat. If you want to request a factoid, do so. If you, want to cheers and we'll take a drink, we are happy to do that as well. You just tore through that level.
Did I?
Yep.
Oh, check that out.
Yeah, that was first try, wasn't it?
I don't think I've ever played these levels because I'm pretty sure at 8 or whenever I was playing this, I wasn't getting. I didn't have unlimited lives.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
unless you had Game Genie, you didn't have that option.
Nobody had that.
We'll cheat our way through. Cheap Scientist has requested take a drink. Thank you. Cheers, Cheap Scientist. Hopefully you're drinking with us. Whoa. All right, Dawn. Cheers.
Right. Cheers.
Again, we are drinking Cutwater Grapefruit Tequila Paloma. If anyone's interested, it's actually a really interesting drink. I've never seen this before, but it's pretty good. It's surprisingly good, actually.
Ooh, I got by that guy.
Oh.
Who knew?
Yeah. It's pretty satisfying, though. Releasing that reward center in the brain.
I was trying to jump on him. Can I do that?
Yeah, you can jump on them. As long as he doesn't have a hammer out, you should be good.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
All right. Again, if anyone has questions, throw them in chat. We are happy to talk about a whole lot of things. Do you want to do a prediction? Want to do any of these guys? I'll wait till you're... Any of these? Do you want to throw
all right, let's do... I like this one. Let's do that one right there.
Throw that one up.
All right.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, ready to play? Spend your standard internet units. We're going to throw a prediction up on the screen right now. More old people live in. That was the one you wanted?
Yeah.
All right. You didn't throw Florida on here. I'm sure you'll give a reason for that.
I did.
All All right, so we have a prediction up on the screen. Spend your standard internet units. If you're not following us, click follow right now, get your 300 internet units. And we're asking the question, do more old people live in Illinois or Arizona? Illinois or Arizona? I look forward to hearing why you chose these two. There's a lot of state options you could have.
There are a lot of state options.
So Illinois or Arizona?
What is your pick? A little bit arbitrary, but not entirely arbitrary.
That's fun. More old people live in, and this is total number. This is not per capita.
This is total number.
Total number of old people. So yeah, put your internet points in right now. Let's see. Analyzing game characters is a fun way to cover the topics while avoiding ethical issues. That's true. There's no IRB when looking at video games and characters.
This is true.
So
that is
a good
true.
Loophole.
That is true.
We'll have to ask Walter about that one.
Yeah, Wally. Yeah, let's ask Wally.
That's awesome.
I know. See, what you need is two people playing against each other.
Oh man.
Oh man, I would play against Wally.
On?
Totally. I'd be game for that.
Ask a Scientist versus gaming.
I mean, I don't know what Wally's gaming experience is, but I would guess he's better than me. I'm just gonna venture to guess that he's better than me.
We can pick a game that neither of you have ever played.
Oh, I like that idea.
So we could do Dr. Mario. We could throw out some Battle Royale. All right, the last 20 seconds or so. More old people live in Arizona or Illinois. Throw your guesses in right now, or your knowledge. So if you know the answer, throw it in there. Don is about to beat World 5-2. Oot, another one down. So you're well over halfway. Ask a Scientist Gaming Deathmatch. Absolutely. Do Tournament Battle Royale.
I know, seriously.
Smash Brothers. All right, more old people live in Arizona or Illinois?
So are we ready for the answer?
Yes.
The answer is Illinois.
Illinois.
How many people, what did people say?
So it was 7-5 Arizona over Illinois. So more people assumed Arizona than Illinois.
There's good. So this is partially why I picked it, because Arizona is actually a pretty small state, but it's also the state where the most people are moving to. So if you look at the number of people who decide to move when they retire, the highest proportion of people don't move to Florida now. They move to Arizona.
It used to be Florida?
Used to be Florida.
Huh. That's interesting.
It did. And Florida gets a lot of old people. It's funny because I have so many students who are like, oh, everyone moves to Florida when they retire. But in fact, it's a really small proportion who do that, in part because you have to have money to do that. Yeah. Not everybody has a lot of money. In fact, that's another question. So, but Illinois has a much larger population. And so when you look at like the politics, we often look at politics and see which states are going to have the biggest impact. Arizona has a high proportion of older people, but Illinois has a lot more.
Let's see.
I think, and now I'm trying to remember what the last numbers are, because the numbers change rapidly.
Yeah.
But more than double.
More than double. Arizona. So not only were people wrong, they were twofold wrong.
Yeah, you're looking at numbers.
Very wrong.
They're very wrong. Yes. But I'm also from Arizona, which is another reason I pick Arizona, because I was born and raised in Arizona.
If you guys knew that meta information, it might have impacted your decision.
I know.
So I'm glad you saved that till after.
Yeah.
Awesome. So again, congratulations. Those of you that said Illinois, that was 5 people versus 7. Interestingly, the people that said Illinois bet more money.
Interesting.
So
they were more confident.
So I'm sure there's some kind of game theory thing going on.
I think they might be good at Google. They might have been faster.
No, we are on the Ask a Scientist.
Oh, yeah, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to do that.
Maybe I should have clarified that for anyone new.
Yeah.
I like it. That's a really fun question. So where does Florida sit on that?
A huge number of people live in Florida. Mm-hmm. The second highest proportion. Maine is the only state that's older proportionally. Huh. And it's very close. It's like within 0.1%. And that I haven't looked at. We don't have the data yet for 2020.
Yeah.
The census data hasn't been released, so we don't know the answer to that just yet. But
hit the wall. That's brutal.
So, but Florida's it's got a lot of old people, but they're very compartmentalized. Like Tallahassee doesn't have a lot of old people.
Yeah. But
So.
Sarasota.
Sarasota does have a lot of older people. And we tend to separate. And that's one of the things that's also bad, right? In terms of society, right? You don't want a society where all the old people live in one place and all the young people live in another place. That's bad for us. So, in that respect, college, it's a place where you're around a whole bunch of people just like you. And in many ways, that isn't good.
Yeah.
So being in places where you have a chance to be in communities where there's people of all ages is really good for society.
Makes sense. Oh, so I just looked at the statistics. So we are at 299 followers right now.
Nice.
So if anyone's watching right now that's not following, if you click the follow button right now, you are number 300. That doesn't do anything for you.
But it'll make you feel good.
You get number 300. So if you're not following, click the follow button right now. 300. Otherwise, everyone watching is following. That's fine too. Thank you all for joining us on Ask Scientist Gaming. But yeah,
I have to say, if I could have had unlimited lives when I was 7, I would have given a lot of money for that.
Game Genie. Are you familiar with Game Genie? It's actually a device that let you put in cheat codes.
I know. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. No, I was older when I got a Game Genie, but it is life-changing.
I never had that. Never had that. I think my parents weren't, up on us increasing our technology access necessarily.
I mean, technology access being good or bad.
I just,
Yeah.
But I do remember having an Atari that the little part that held the top in had to be pushed down all the way in order for it to work, and the spring broke. Yeah. And so it's like the one time we used the encyclopedias in our house, because we would stack those big huge encyclopedias to hold the lid down on the
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I used the encyclopedias for reports and stuff, but yeah.
Oh, encyclopedias.
That's what they were useful for.
Remember those.
I know. Somebody was talking about that recently.
Yeah.
The role of encyclopedias in our lives and who still owns them.
Yeah.
I have this memory of a Friends episode where somebody goes door to door selling encyclopedias. Did you ever see Friends?
No, I don't.
Oh my goodness. I'm a little bit of a Friends junkie. And yeah. Oh, so close. I got a little too cocky.
That's fair.
Yeah. But anyway, so I was thinking about that.
They took up so much space. Yes.
They did.
Weighed a lot.
And you had to have enough money to buy one. And that was ooh, you must have, something going on to be able to afford a set of encyclopedias.
Yeah, you could guess someone's annual salary based on whether there's an encyclopedia.
Something like that, yeah.
Or you could only afford a few volumes.
I know, you can only afford Z.
Well, yeah. You want to get the cheap one, the Z?
Yeah, Z is cheap.
Go for an S. S is the, if you're going to invest, go for it.
Yeah, if they're all the same price, you definitely want to get an S.
Oh, that's a study in itself.
I know, which one to buy.
I like it. All right. Anyone, throw your questions in chat. Otherwise, we'll keep talking about encyclopedias. Actually, we can go to a few of my questions if you're up for it.
Yeah, don't look at the online encyclopedias. They're largely garbage.
Yeah.
That's a good.
I got a lot of use out of our medical encyclopedia, and that's fair.
I did not have a medical.
Unless you're a hypochondriac, then that's probably a bad choice. But now you have all sorts of online resources to tell you you're dying. So, yeah.
What is it? WebMD? Yeah, don't use that. Don't recommend a WebMD.
I mean, so the thing is, there are software packages now that if you describe your symptoms, they're actually better at diagnosing than doctors
absolutely, because they don't have any biases.
Yeah, and they can even throw control questions in there. And they can, suss out someone trying to get prescription drugs. They're
That's
getting
a very
really
interesting
good
thing.
at those things. And
this personalized medicine thing is phenomenal. I mean, Yeah, it's just an outstanding thing that's going to change. I mean, the level of bias in medicine is, people don't even realize what a difference it makes. To be a white man, you get much better diagnoses.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Absolutely. Emotional intelligence affect how long you live. So my understanding is mostly the research on emotional intelligence is not good. Like the notion that, I'm not to say that emotional intelligence is bad. It's just not nearly as predictive as you might think.
So is that one of those things that a buzzword that infiltrated and then became popular, but it doesn't have the foundation?
Yeah.
Is that the
Goldman? I'm trying to think of the guy's name who became famous for it. I mean, one of the things that it does is it makes it seem like emotional intelligence is the be all end all. Mm-hmm. And it's actually really quite biased. If you think about it, the extent to which there's all kinds of people who do extremely well who don't have like the traditional skill set.
That's me, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, academia is packed full of wacky people.
Yeah, no, we're all mildly autistic.
There's a good bit of wacky people.
Yeah.
I would say across the board, pretty much. Like I'm fairly comfortable with people from a wide spectrum of backgrounds. But emotional intelligence is I think we put a lot of stock into it because, people somehow believe that that's a critical characteristic when, really what it is a way to segregate and kind of move out those mildly autistic people from being valuable members of teams when they offer different kinds of skill sets. So it's like hyper valuing certain characteristics over others. And I think there's a lot of reasons that we should be skeptical about that. Mm-hmm. That said, does your set of personal characteristics matter? I would say absolutely. That was really stupid. And they matter. They matter for different reasons. Like they are really killer. They matter for different reasons. So if your emotional intelligence means that you're generally an asshole and you aren't good at making friends, yes, it will affect your longevity. I would say that. But if you're not an asshole and you just have, you're quirky and you find your people, then it doesn't affect you. Yeah.
It's interesting. So it's way more circumstantial. You can't just quantify by certain
I would say,
characteristics.
it'd be very challenging to do a study on emotional intelligence because it's a little bit hand wavy. It's a little bit like saying your Myers-Briggs personality test matters when, in fact, it's really bad science. People love it because it's fun.
Yeah.
But, whether or not you're an ENTJ or an INFP doesn't have a huge amount of impact on your life.
That was beautiful, by the way.
Oh, and I ruined it all by...
But WebMD said I'm emotionally intelligent. Oh,
I see. I'm awful because I'm going to make you feel sad for all the things that all those current terms and concepts you loved.
I mean, but we have to debunk that stuff, right?
It's true.
So I have a new slide I'm adding. So I have a diatribe against the diamond industry. Like
the diamond industry,
crystal structures, because it's
right.
just a scam and slave labor.
Absolutely.
But there's another aspect of the crystalline structures, which is people thinking they can heal you by putting them on your body and they have certain characteristics. Blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And,
yes, I'm familiar. I teach yoga.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, hell,
that's your demographic, right?
Yeah. To some degree, yeah.
But there's so there's something called the Knowledge Fellowship. You guys should follow it. It's a Discord channel that has a bunch of educational streamers. And somebody posted under the funny channel. Oh. Basically, there was an image that showed here's all the different crystal structures, and here's the crystals, and here's the verified medical impact. And under every one of them, it says it doesn't do shit.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to be my Gen Chem slide.
Let's talk about astrology too, right? I'm a Libra, but not supported by any evidence, but that's okay. It's still, some people think it's fun.
Yeah, and it is. As long as you treat it as fun.
Yeah, the issue is acknowledging that it's fun, but not fact.
Yeah.
right? And there's no science to support it. It is not whether or not you're a Sagittarius is not going to influence. Wow, I've never done that.
You got over it.
Yeah, except then I got excited and I got two.
New.
Yeah. Whether or not you're a Sagittarius isn't going to determine if how long you live.
And there's an awesome study. I think I mentioned this when David Collins was on, actually.
Oh, yeah.
There's a professor, I don't remember what university, but basically he did the math to show that the doctor that delivered you imparted more gravitational force on you than the stars that were far away.
Nice.
And so you can actually show based on evidence, yes, astrology does not matter. It does not matter when you were born or what celestial bodies were doing or what was in retrograde. So
yeah, I mean, again, I'm around these people a lot as a yoga person. And, not to say that there isn't anything fun about it, but if you're a scientific sort of person, you gotta be interested in the data.
Yeah. All right, so how frustrated are you with this level? Because we can put on...
I've had enough to drink that I'm actually pretty okay.
All right, we'll keep going. I was going to say we can put on if you get a power-up, you can keep it.
Oh.
So if you got that first mushroom, you can keep it no matter what. It's up to you.
I think I'm good. I'm going to give this a try.
Keep grinding through.
So this is something else you'll learn. Like, here's my personality is I am highly persistent.
Oh. Right.
I tend to not mind failing. I will get past it. It may not necessarily always serve me well.
Yeah. Well, I strongly recommend you don't get into speedrunning video games because that is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
It is just repetitive 3,000 tries.
This is not a good thing for my personality. I like to win things. But I don't mind failing a lot in the process. Oh, see, I keep forgetting about this.
Hamsterlicious has taken this opportunity about being drunk enough to play Mario to recommend we take another drink.
All right. Well, there you go.
Hamsterlicious, thank you as always for joining us. Throw your questions in chats. Reese's Pieces says, fuck your astrology sign. Which scientist shares your birthday?
Oh, I do need to know that. I don't know the answer to that. My birthday is September 30th. Does anyone know what my...
Do you want me to look it up?
Yeah, let's find this out.
September 30th.
I'm going to guess that there are not any sociologists who share my birthday, but I could be wrong. I'm going to have to find this out.
I'm literally going to type September 30th scientists' birthdays. See what comes up. Ooh, this is Hans Geiger, the founder of the Geiger counter.
I don't know who that is. Geiger counter?
Sorry, the hard part is that I recognize certain names and you recognize other ones.
That is true.
The Geiger counter is the thing in movies that carry around where if there's a nuclear fallout or something, it starts beeping. It counts basically radioactivity. It was Geiger.
Oh.
So on September 30th.
Oh, man. Oh.
Gene Perrin, energy transfer. No, that's...
No good.
Charles Lawrence. I think that's the namesake for Lawrence Berkeley Lab. I
don't know any of those names. I don't know any of those names.
I mean, so the thing is...
These are just a whole bunch of old white guys.
So sociology is a relatively young field, right?
I mean, like how young? I mean, so...
this is 1715.
Oh, that's old.
Yeah.
It's not 1700s old. Like, we didn't actually think, clean running water mattered for a really long time.
Or washing
so let's just go with that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We've learned a lot.
Yeah.
I agree. But
come a long way.
Incidentally, the scientists that share your birthday matter as much as astrology in terms of influencing
Probably
your life. So.
It's equally irrelevant.
The irony of that is not lost on us.
Yes.
But it is fun factoid nonetheless.
It is true.
All right, we are almost at the 10 o'clock mark. We should probably do another prediction. What do you want to do?
I think I might need to switch gears on a new game.
You want to do a new game?
I might have to, because I am not as persistent as I am,
Do you want the cheat code? Because if you get the mushroom, you can keep it.
I'm on the fence there. Okay, let's go for it.
We can try.
All right, let's do the cheat code.
All right.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, no one on chat knows right now that we have a cheat code in that if you get a mushroom, you get to keep it. So as long as you don't fall in a hole after getting the mushroom, you're okay.
See, that's the hard part. It's like, check this out.
This mushroom.
Yeah, I'm going to have to not miss the first time.
But if you get the mushroom, the fire bar can hit you and you're fine.
Got it. All right.
All right. The first book published, the Gutenberg Bible, was September 30th, 1452. Fun factoid.
The first book published.
Printing press book.
Wow.
I mean, it depends.
Which was the Bible? Of course it was Bible.
Yeah.
That was the most popular book of all time.
Yeah. The Gutenberg Bible. That's a fun factoid.
Pierapollo Donati was born. I don't know who that is. Should I know who that is? Does it make me a bad sociologist if I don't know who that is?
Should I look him up and find out?
I mean, maybe.
The main proponent of relational sociology and a prominent thinker in relational theory.
Well, I'm a bad sociologist. I don't know that person.
We'll look it up later.
I guess. Yep. Not in my area.
But thank you guys for finding.
Not the person who studies old people, but I'm thinking depends on the year. There may not have been very many old people at that time, because in 1900 there were only like 4% of the population was over 65.
Wow.
4%.
What is that number now?
It is in the United States around 15%.
Huh.
In Japan, closer to 20%. And in Florida, around 20%.
Huh.
Little older. In some areas, much higher than 20%. Depending on where you're living, as you can imagine.
But you got to get the mushroom. We have the cheat code.
I know, but I can't get that mushroom.
This is one of the hardest levels, by the way.
Oh, that makes me feel better, because I really suck.
I mean, yeah.
I have to say.
Other than
it is not something I'm really good at.
No worries. Oh, we're back to an aging question. Awesome. Thank you, Scott Stagg. Thank you for the question. It seems like people get more fearful with age. Is that a real thing? If so, do you know why? Fearful
with age. Fearful in what way is the question. I mean, so I'll tell you about a few interesting things about aging. I don't know that people become more fearful, but as you get older, you get to be more the same. But there's a few things that do change. Like you don't change your personality, but you become much more invested in things that are emotionally meaningful. There's a theory, my former boss at Stanford, her expertise was in something that she introduced, which was called socio-emotional selectivity theory, which is a big mouthful. Mm-hmm. And what it says is that as you get older and your sense of the end of your life becomes more cognizant in your mind, they call it your future time perspective. Mm-hmm. So how far in the future you think you have left to live. And this future time perspective plays an important role in kind of what you prioritize. So if you have a really big event happen and you're more aware of your mortality, like you know, a near-death experience or something like that, instead of focusing on, having fun or going out with friends, things that are more kind of like the future is, I don't need to worry about the future. I have so much of it ahead of me. I can focus on getting a college degree. I don't have to think about, you can sort of take people for granted in your life. You don't do that as you get older. You become much more aware of things that are very meaningful. So you tend to prioritize family relationships and meaningful relationships over, sort of achievements. You're less concerned about your ego. So fear might be, to come back to that, might be a matter of...
so close.
Yeah, I know. Fear might be associated with that, where as we get to a place where we're more concerned about losing people we care a lot about. That didn't work. No. It totally didn't work.
Stayed big, but if you went to fallen in the hole, you would have stayed big.
Oh,
and then nothing else.
damn it. I I didn't know.
Yeah.
All right. I'll
So
work
Bill
on it.
brings up the point. It convolutes fearful and careful and like priorities. And I mean, it's probably not fear that changes, just like your decision when
Your
that
sense
fear
of
hits you.
priorities change.
Yeah.
Absolutely, your sense of priority changes.
Yeah.
You know, when you're thinking about life having unlimited amounts of having unlimited life left.
Yeah.
You definitely have a different way of focusing on things. You might say, I don't need to talk to my grandma today because I'll do that when that seems boring. I'm going to play with my friends and hang out do things. You don't have as much awareness about kind of the preciousness of life, if you will.
I mean, and the priorities change, right? If I was a college kid during COVID, I probably wouldn't be as responsible as I am as an adult with children. Like,
well, there's a good reason that college students got COVID at very high rates.
Yeah.
I mean, they were much less worried about the long-term consequences of that.
Yep.
Because your brain, I mean, when you're at that age, your brain is not developed in a way to really think about that stuff yet. So that's part of it.
Texas Space Agency, thank you for coming by. And yeah, we're glad you enjoy. Throw your questions in chat if you have any for a gerontologist. Don Carr, she's happy to answer questions about various factors and how they influence aging and health and well-being in late life, and playing Mario and drinking. So that's a pretty good night. Thank you for joining us.
But clearly not playing well. I mean, I'm struggling.
We can bail. We can move on to if you want to go to another game.
Do I get a bathroom break?
Yes, it is.
Is that possible?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
So
because, two drinks.
Do you want me to beat this for you while
Okay.
you're gone?
Hey,
All right.
I like this. All right.
It'll just magically be okay when you return. Let's do it right here. All right. So Don Carr is not able to answer questions for about the next whatever bathroom break time window. So I'm going to be playing Mario. If you guys have questions about aging, I won't be able to answer those. But if you have questions about molecular photophysics or spectroscopy or photochemistry, I'm happy to answer those. Oh, come on. Note that I've never played this level before. Ah, 1 up, look at that. Oh, come on. Yeah, those fire wheels are not fair. So I don't know how people that are like really good Twitch streamers that play hard games and do it well actually do what they do, because this is non-trivial. You try to pay attention and... Oh, come on. Aging. I'm never going to grow up exactly. We're going to stay young forever. That's just how it's going to work. All right, here we go. Game Genie is active. Now I'm just going to run like I'm invincible. So I got the mushroom. So now I'm
Yay.
invincible. As long as I don't fall down a
invincible.
hole, I'm okay.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So now you will have this code for the rest of the game.
Oh, I like this.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, there we go.
This
Perfect
is the
time.
best bathroom break I've ever had.
I am a Toys R Us kid.
Yeah.
Yes, before they went out of business, we were all Toys R Us kids.
Look at that.
There was nothing quite like going to a toy store when you were a kid, though. That does not exist anymore, so I feel for you. All right, I'm going to catch up on a bunch of stuff.
All right. So where are we?
I will find out. I was struggling, but we're congratulating ourselves on beating that level. At nearly 60, I would love to be riding a motorcycle again.
That seems like a bad idea.
Racing at 440 between lanes of a deadlock traffic at 80 miles an hour? No, probably not.
Probably not the best idea to ride. I mean, motorcycles are pretty unsafe, but they're fun. I guess so. The question is how much you're concerned about your mortality.
Ooh.
So some people are less concerned about dying than others.
Sorry, reading an unrelated comment.
Okay.
That was unrelated to you. I'm sorry. I'll tell you after you get done with this.
All right. Is it going to
I mean, we can throw it
apparently.
right now. Texas Space Agency has said the secret is drinking the blood of my slain enemies.
Oh, wow.
That's longevity.
That's intense. Oh no, I'm back to small again.
Yeah, so you have to get it. If you fall down a hole, you start over.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah.
So I have to get big again.
Yeah. Or we can activate the code where you can just walk through the enemies.
Oh, that seems like way too far.
I mean, God mode's pretty fun though.
It does seem fun, but I feel like that's just a level of cheating that I'm just not. I might need drink 3 to get there.
All right. Cheap Scientist wants to know, I was wondering if you'll ever have a computer science expert on stream. We actually will in 2 weeks. Sachin Shanbaj is a computer scientist. And so he does primarily modeling things like soft materials and polymers and things like that. I think
Interesting.
I think he's in a scientific computing department. So not computer scientist, but close enough. He's a computer scientist. So stop by in 2 weeks. He's going to be playing Dynamite Dan and a few other games. So yeah, we will have a computer scientist on.
Nice.
So yeah, and if you guys have suggestions on people, FSU is convenient because we can do it in person, but we can do remote streams as well. But yeah, I think we have the next 4 guests lined up. I have to update the calendar for you guys. So every 2 weeks, approximately, we're going to have guests, except for 1 week when I'm gone at a conference. So a little offset by a week.
You're like in real life, a real conference in person?
Yes.
Holy cow.
Well, so
is that where we are again?
November 11th. It's a local chemistry meeting.
Got it.
And yeah, so that'll be in person again.
Yeah, November is my first in-person conference again.
Yeah. So
I will be in Phoenix. Speaking of Arizona.
hot.
Not in November. It's quite beautiful in November.
No, that's true.
In fact.
Ooh, what role does oxidative stress play in aging?
Oxidative stress. So I do not study the biological components of aging, so I don't know the answer to that. I can assume it's bad, but I can't tell you more than that. So this is the problem with studying aging, is that it covers so many disciplines. So I'm in the sociology department and I study health, but I don't study everything.
Yeah, that's a biochemistry question. And
Yeah,
I have nothing to offer.
Oxidative, I got nothing. Very good question, though. I mean, those are some big words.
It probably matters a bunch for things like cancer and
Yes, my guess is it matters a lot, but I don't know the answer compared to other things. Biological aging class. Yep. And there are a lot of biologists who study aging. And they're very smart, and I'm glad that they're my colleagues and I can ask them these questions. So I feel like I need to phone a friend.
That's fair. All right, we talked about doing a prediction. Let's do one of those now. Let's start spending some of our internet points. Which one do you want to do?
Ooh, I think we should go with that.
Okay. All right. I'm going to throw a prediction up now. If you guys aren't following, click the follow button, get your 300 standard internet units, and gamble them away for useless points that do nothing outside of this channel, but are fun nonetheless because you can request factoids.
Oh, I just
we take
fell
a
into
drink. All right, we're going to throw a question up there now. What is the median net worth of 50-year-olds in the United States? Is it less than 200,000 or greater than 200,000? Keep in mind, this is the median net worth. Is it more or less than 200,000?
Median net worth. Should we talk about what median means?
Maybe.
Do people know what median means? I feel like we have a smart audience. Oh.
Yeah, so it's not the average. It's kind of...
It's like if you divided the whole population in half, who's right in the middle?
Yeah, so as opposed to average, what's going to be weighed out by
like
Jeff
50%.
Bezos, the median is a much better
That's why,
metric to
because we have so
represent.
many very wealthy people in the country.
Yeah.
Who make it all seem like everyone else is similar and they're nothing like it.
There is a Pareto distribution of wealth. The median isn't relevant. That's interesting.
What is Pareto distribution?
I have no
I don't know
idea.
what that means.
I've never seen that name before.
Do we have to Google that?
I'm going to do that right now.
Pareto.
I keep forgetting what less and greater means. The greater one eats the bigger number.
Yes.
Actually, it depends which direction it's facing. So yeah, maybe that didn't help at all.
I know, actually.
Pareto distribution. Named after Vilfredo Pareto. Vilfredo Pareto.
Yeah, I'm learning new vocabulary. That's
Civil
impressive.
engineer, economist, and sociologist.
Well, see, I'm another bit of evidence that I'm a bad sociologist. I don't know this. Who knew? Apparently, some people.
Reese's Pieces. But what qualifies as net wealth? Assets minus debts?
Yes.
All right.
Correct.
There we go. We clarified. Texas Space Agency is going to go to Olive Garden and order an Alfredo Pareto. It's all you can eat. Go.
Oh, I was so close. I might need to have you get me past this level. I haven't tried 50 times yet though. That might be my limit.
No worries. I mean, we still have 2 games left, so it might
All right.
be time to switch to Rad Racer. It's up to you.
Okay, let me give this just a couple more shots and see how I do.
Those springboards are so dope.
They're a pain in the butt.
All right. So it's over median net worth of 50-year-olds in the U.S., less than 200,000, greater than 200,000. Your answer is?
So are we at the time limit?
Yep.
Oh, all right. The answer is less than 200,000. What did people say?
Less than 200,000. So congratulations, anyone that said less than 200,000. The distribution was 5 said less than 200,000, 4 said greater than 200,000. But those that said greater bet a lot more money on it. So there was a 4-to-1 payout on that for those of you that said less than 200,000. And so that is kind of a terrifying number as 50-year-olds age and try to pay for healthcare.
This is one of the funny things. And there's a lot of stuff about wealth that I think people's minds are blown.
Yeah.
But one is that most people don't, if you don't make enough money to pay the bills every month, you certainly don't have enough money to have a retirement account. Mm-hmm. So there's that issue. But a lot of people don't really know how 401ks work. And it used to be the case that we had pensions. You didn't really have to think about it so much. You could kind of rely on your employer to take care of you. And now we have 401ks, which is something that you get at every place and you don't know how much to put in. And so the interesting thing is that particularly older people today, they grew up during a time when it was kind of the transition between pensions, where companies would just give you a certain amount per month, which is called a defined benefit, and to what a 401k is, which is a defined contribution. And with that, you're in charge. It's like a choose your own adventure, but most people choose wrong and don't know how to do it. And they end up not saving enough money. And you need a lot of money to survive, because as I say to my students, if you're going to live to be 95 and you retire at, pick your number, let's say 65. Everyone seems to think 65 is magical. I would like to argue that it should be 70 for most people. There's a lot of evidence to support 70 as a good number for retirement, for lots of reasons, but especially financially. People don't have enough money to live 30 years. So if you think about it, if you're working for 35 years, you can't always save enough to live without income for another 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's how you end up with a whole bunch of people who are fairly close to retirement and have almost no money.
Do you want to hear a super depressing factoid about the magic of 65 years old? So,
yes.
Related to healthcare, actually. So the prevalence of cancer diagnoses between 61, 62, 63, and 64 is about 2 to 3% or something like that. As soon as it hits 65, it doubles.
Yes.
And so it has nothing to do with actual healthcare. It has to do with the financing of healthcare, and that Medicaid kicks in and you can actually treat Medicare kicks in and you can actually treat the disease. And so people are waiting till they're 65 to actually get diagnosed.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. That's super
They
depressing.
can't afford it. Yeah, it is a horrendous statistic. That is an absolutely incredibly depressing statistic. I have not heard that before, and I'm not at all surprised.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, horrible. So people have cancer, but they can't afford to treat it.
Yeah. Or they might think they have cancer, but they don't want to pay the copay to get diagnosed and potentially lose their house.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's just, our system is broken. We'll rant about this every single stream.
Insanity. So if you talk about, healthcare, there's that's a controversial topic, like what we should be doing in terms of healthcare. And like the last election, I spent a lot of time talking about how Medicare and Medicaid works in my class. And it's a really interesting and very challenging subject to kind of cover for lots and lots of reasons. But this is part of the reason why people say that the biggest solution is just extend Medicare to age 50. Because most of the challenging parts about our healthcare system are people who are 50, because there's a lot of ageism in the workforce. And you're considered an older worker. Do you know what age you are when you're an older worker? Here's my factoid. Unpaid for factoid.
Yeah, unsolicited.
What does it mean to be an older worker? It means that you're 40.
Wow.
Yes. You're 40 years old. That's what it means to be an older worker. That's legally the case. And if you look at older workers, I'm just jumping into oblivion.
No worries.
Your chance of getting rehired after 50 is much, much lower than any other time, because people prioritize younger workers, and it's very challenging to get a job. So during the pandemic, this is the group that struggled the most, actually. So, you talk about wealth. Challenges with wealth, people need to work longer, and because they didn't save any money. And companies aren't providing that wealth yet, or anymore, in the same way that they used to. So,
all right, 10:15, short stint at Rad Racer.
I think it's time.
All right, let's do it. Next game, Rad Racer. Sorry, I got to change the stream title. Another classic.
Okay, this one I've never played before.
You've never played
I've
before?
never played.
Put on the cheat codes.
Oh.
Otherwise, this would be...
I do like to drive, though. Does that count? I enjoy driving a lot.
Skill set translate directly? I don't know.
If it was legal to...
press start.
All right, press start.
A.
And then what do I do here?
A.
Okay. And then how do I go?
A accelerates, B brakes, and then just back and forth, and
all right.
Try not to crash.
I can't promise anything.
So I have it so trees don't completely destroy you if you're off the side of the road.
Oh, that's helpful.
So we're making a little bit easy mode, but also making it fun and bearable. This is a really hard game without these.
Is it? Oh, okay.
So, all right, catching up on a few things. Musty Unicorn. This is when having a sociologist as a mom helps out. Presumably that is your son.
I'm thinking it might be.
Or it's a crazy coincidence.
Hey, Gray.
Musty Unicorn, welcome to the stream. Thank you for stopping by. Questions for your mom, just throw them in chat. Anyone else also, if you have questions for gerontologists about life and aging and all sorts of factors that influence those variables, throw them in chat right now. Reese's Pieces wants to know, what is the urban/rural split for older adults in the U.S.? Does it lean one way more than the rest of the population?
Yeah, there's a higher proportion of older people living in rural areas generally, because younger people go to get jobs in cities because that's where they tend to be. But there's so few people who live in rural areas relative to urban areas that there's not a large number of differences, because again, there's just not a lot of people in that area. So yes, more older people than younger people in rural areas, because young people go to get jobs.
Makes sense. All right, so I have a couple standards I go to, questions I want answered. So one of my favorites, I've watched a lot of movies. My wife and I have been cord cutters for 15 years. And so one of the things we care about is movies. We watch them a lot. What movie or TV show gets your discipline wrong, and what gets it right?
Gets it wrong. So
Cocoon? I don't know.
I've seen, it's been a while since I've seen Cocoon. I really liked it when I saw it as a kid, but I can't remember how ageist it was.
I don't think it was I think it was the antithesis of that.
Yeah, I feel like it was like the first movie that showed aging as a time of where there's potential. And that's like, if there was anything I really wanted to teach someone, it's that old age is a time where you get to, there's a lot of benefits that you get from aging. Like, you're better at managing your emotions and seeing the good parts, right? Relative to the bad. You have like experience to lean on to know when to be upset and when not to be. I think Cocoon had a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they made it seem like unless you were acting and felt like you were young, it was sucked. So that part was ageist, I think. Right?
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, like just aging for aging's sake. I mean, you have pain and stuff. I think that oftentimes that's sort of the perspective that we get, is that a lot of these shows make it seem like being old is bad. But, because baby boomers getting older and they like to defy all the rules of all the things, they're helping change that a bit. So my favorite show right now is Frankie and Grace. I don't know if anyone's seen that. Jane Fonda.
I'm familiar, but I haven't watched it. Yeah.
It's really pretty fabulous because it does all the things right. And in fact, Jane Fonda was on the advisory board of my previous job at Stanford. Huh. And that is partially related to her development of this particular TV project. And it's a lot of fun. It likes to break all the rules. I love that the two main characters are in their 80s and still productive and doing amazing things, which is actually a lot more similar to reality than people think. So your ability to continue to be creative and make major contributions only ends when you're physically unable to do it. Maybe us cognitively unable to do it too, but we have the ability to do really awesome things for a really, really long time. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, you finished the race.
So that's cool. I feel like I didn't have to do very much. I like this whole cheat thing because it's basically just driving, which I like.
There's basically a timer here. And so that usually goes down, but it's not going down for you.
Oh, I like that.
So
all right.
We can turn off the codes if you want to experience it without the cheat codes. Do you want to?
I could try, but it might be embarrassing for me. As long as you don't mind. I don't mind. Okay. I don't mind embarrassing myself. I'm good
These games are hard. There was no easy mode on Nintendo. It was just
good to know.
Get the game and it's hard.
See, I always enjoyed these. So it's good.
All right, so press A and you're ready to go, and codes should be off.
So I do want to say, if you've never seen Frankie and Grace, I highly recommend it. I've been trying to figure out a way to bring it into my classroom. So I really like the question. It is fabulous. Dating, sex. They start a company where they sell vibrators that are ergonomic.
Yeah.
For women with arthritis, which I thought was pretty fabulous. They sell a toilet to help you because she got stuck on the toilet and couldn't get up, and it was embarrassing for her. And she was trying to sell, be an entrepreneur in her later life, which is a time when you can take risks like that as long as you have money, which she had plenty of in the show. Not everybody does.
I mean, so they did their homework. They had advisors.
They did. She had my boss. The whole socio-emotional selectivity lady, that was her boss. I mean, she worked with her.
So your time just ran out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, it's hard mode.
Holy cow. How are you supposed to get through that whole thing?
Yeah, no, that's...
I went a quarter of the race.
That's
not
no
even.
joke. That is...
How? I was going full speed.
Flawless, full speed, no bumping.
No way. That's not possible.
Yeah.
Okay. I suck at this. But I'm fine with that. Oh, I have to press start. It would help. Hey, there we go. I like not being in the night.
So that's one that captures it. Is there an example you can think of that does a terrible job with aging?
Well, I mean, today I loved watching the Golden Girls. Everybody asks that. The Golden Girls, I mean, they're really popular today. There was a lot about the Golden Girls that was kind of awesome because they defied all the rules. But I just want to say that a lot of the main characters were in their early to mid 50s, and that's not old. I just want to be clear that being in your 50s is not old.
Yeah.
And it's far from being retirement age. These were women that were either divorced or widowed and living in a place where they could, basically not work. They were not working. This is not reality. They did it wrong. They had it wrong.
So Golden Girls got it wrong.
They got it wrong.
Frankie and Grace is the one you should watch.
Yeah, I like the Golden Girls. It's super entertaining, particularly Sophia. She's awesome.
Yeah.
But, I just, there were some things that pushed the bill that I really liked about the Golden Girls. They were good for their time, but people don't retire at 50. That's wrong. Retire at 70. That's when your Social Security maxes out. You make $200,000 more if you retire at 70 instead of at 62, which is the earliest age you can get Social Security. So Get Social Security at 70. If I can give you some advice, do that.
That's intense.
Don't do it until then.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Texas Space Agency and economist. A few comments in here. Sorry, I'll try to catch up.
All right.
I'm 35 and it's a weird age.
It is a weird age.
I think we feel that about pretty much every age.
I think every age is weird. Yeah.
How much am I going to enjoy that money if I'm stuck in a rocking chair?
That is true. So there's this balancing act between having enough money and also living your life and knowing that it's the one time you get to do it. You only get to do it one time. You get this minute right now, and you don't want to regret, all of that. So yeah, I mean, that is a challenge.
It's a cost benefit.
There's definitely people who believe in like live it up and pretend you're not going to live to be 95. I mean, you could do that, but then you might end up being poor for 25 years too. So, you got to balance.
To reiterate, if you do 5 things, you will live well and you'll have a quality of life.
You don't have to be rich.
Poor, have a circle of friends, eat vegetables and fruits. What were the other ones?
I think I had, don't be too stressed.
Don't be too stressed.
Don't be so stressed that it makes you sick and miserable.
Yep.
That's not worth it. Again, you only get to live your life once.
Yeah.
And also it'll make you die young. So that's not good.
And I can't remember the 5th
one. Social. Friends. People. Gotta have friends.
Surely make love is in that list.
Surely make love. I mean, good relationships, sex, very important. Social, very much connected, yes. Yes.
I like it.
Did I run out of time again?
No, you beat it.
What? I actually did?
Yeah.
Oh, because you put it back. I was like, wow, I think it's working much better now. All right.
Just hedging my bets that I'll be able to upload my brain to the internet before I become a feeble old man.
But you see,
that's the spirit.
This is now time for another question.
Here we go. All right. We're doing another prediction. Standard internet units. Somebody has to click follow and become our 300th follower.
Somebody became our 300th follower?
Not yet. Oh. Not yet. We're 1 away. But we're going to throw up our prediction right now. Click the follow button if you want your 300 standard internet units. Even if you don't click follow, you should have some points to spend right now.
Yeah.
The prediction is up right now. And the question is, it's true or false question. Dementia is a natural part of aging. True or false? Is getting dementia apparent to aging? Is it true or false? So throw your predictions in there now.
While you're doing that, I'm going to try to do a lousy job at driving for a while.
Sounds good.
So one of the other 5 things was my husband texted me. He apparently, that's a good sign. He must be finding this entertaining.
He's watching.
He said, make sure you have at least 2 people to bail you out of jail. I mean, we've changed it now. Have good relationships is to make sure you have at least 2 people to bail you out of jail, which works.
Let him know. Actually, he can hear me right now. Use the comment section. You don't have to use the private chat channel to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, dementia is not natural. It's oxidative stress, for crying out loud. I don't know. We don't have a biochemist in the house.
I know, we don't. Where's our biologist when you need him? See, this is why I have good colleagues.
Yeah.
If I could give you any advice, if you decide to study aging, which is an awesome field for the record, I can't imagine anything more interesting. But you have to be good with people so that you can get colleagues from all different areas so you can learn from them. Because that's the most important part of living.
We are heavily lopsided right now.
And I am getting a lot of trees in the face. So
don't worry, Gigi, we're okay. Dementia is a natural part of aging. True or false? We have 9 people saying false. No one's saying true. Is anyone going to game the system and say true?
I mean, you might win a lot of points, right?
I mean, it's worth the risk on the payout potentially. But
yeah, potentially.
I don't have the answer, so I'd bet 10 on true just to get a payout. There we go. Somebody threw 10.
All right, let's see.
10 on true. Nice. Chief scientist, way to do the high risk, high reward. Wow. So if the answer is true, chief scientist gets a 238 to 1 payout.
Nice.
What is the answer? Is it a natural part of it?
And this is why I'm not an economist, because I don't even know what that accounts.
It's basically every point he puts in, he gets 238 multiplied.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. So what's the answer? Dementia is a natural part of aging?
It is not a natural part of aging. We know that. We have smart people, or I've rubbed off on them. Have I taught them something? I mean,
it might be the nature of the question. We don't know if it's meta information or not.
It is not a natural part of aging. Your brain slows down. Your speed of processing declines with aging as a natural part of aging. But dementia is not a natural part of aging. So there's different parts of cognitive function, but we gain a wealth of knowledge over our life course, and this knowledge is called crystallized intelligence, and we get more of it as we age. And so over time, until we start having any sign of cognitive losses equivalent with dementia, which some people have, and your risk goes up. So about 75% of people over 90 have some sort of dementia, symptoms of dementia. But it is not something that happens for everybody. So it's more about risk and longevity. So hopefully that answers everyone's questions about age and dementia.
So it's
not a for sure thing. In fact, no one in my family's ever been diagnosed with dementia.
That is a good sign.
And they've all lived into their 90s. All the women have, except my mom. She died at 50 something. That's not good. So, but she had cancer. But regardless of age, both of my grandmothers lived to be 94, and neither had dementia. My aunt is 90, doesn't have dementia. It's a pretty remarkable thing.
Yeah.
So, there's a certain amount of genetics that come into play there, and this is where I'm really hoping that 50% actually relates to dementia. Because,
Texas Space Agency had a good quote. No one in my family had dementia that I can remember.
Yeah, very well done. Nice.
Downward spiral.
You get a, yeah.
Oh, called out.
Yeah, I like it.
That's awesome. Thank you, Texas. But no, there's people that live to be, the record was 123.
Yeah, and it is remarkable. Is that the French lady recently? Do you remember what Matt said?
I don't.
'Cause I remember Matt Hauer is the demographer.
Yeah.
Demographers study mortality and fertility and migration. Those are their three big things. And so the mortality thing, they're usually pretty up on their statistics for their like who's living the longest lives.
Man,
So
123. So that person is like 20 standard deviations.
it's very high.
That's,
So if you say, let's say 80-ish, 80-ish is kind of your general average person survival expectation, 79 for men. My grandfather lived to be 79 at a time, though, when he was expected to be 75. So he survived beyond that. But I don't know. I don't know how many standard deviations that would be. 123. It's a lot, though.
Yeah.
It's certainly more than 2.
Yeah, no, that's...
And if you don't know statistics or like them, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, just generally, it's a lot.
All right.
So I'm curious about this game. Like, where are you supposed to be driving? That, like, it's kind of, it's like you're in the sand. I think this is New Mexico. I'm going to vote for New Mexico. Have you been to New Mexico?
I have. That seems like a reasonable guess.
New Mexico, Utah, maybe northern Arizona, a little bit.
I've never considered the realism of the game, but you have a point.
It's not super realistic, but if you think of it, I did see the movie Cars quite a bit.
Yeah.
This was my son's favorite movie when he was like 2 to 6.
Yeah.
So I must have seen it about 50 times. And it looked like this. I wonder if this was the inspiration. Who knew?
This was the timeline of what? Cannonball Run, a few of those 80s type
could be
racing movies. I'm sure it fell into that.
Something, yeah.
You just ruined his immersion into the game.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to ruin it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hamsterlicious brings up a point. Matt Hauer, when he was talking about aging, it's the probability of death actually goes down above a certain threshold.
Probably, yes, absolutely.
It's a weird...
So there's a crossover effect also with certain groups, too, where earlier times they have a lower risk more survival, and then as they get older, survival begets more survival. That is really what happens. So the longer you live, the longer you're expected to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you make it to 65, your chance of survival is much higher than so our life expectancy numbers, this is a good thing to repeat, it is at birth. So even if you make it to 20, your chances of survival is now much higher. Very good memory.
Cuddle Puppy. This game is a dystopian reality where the world is just an endless road.
Oh, that feels a little deep for my brain right now.
We got some lore behind Rad Racer.
Yikes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That sounds like a sci-fi dystopian.
And I'm not sure.
Just being written.
I'm kind of curious, if there was, some AI like evaluating my driving skills, what it would tell me about A, my safety in getting in a car right now, and B, whether or not I have dementia. I mean, that would be kind of interesting.
Let's ask Wally.
I know. Let's ask Wally.
Have you used his simulator? He has a driving simulator.
I can't use the simulators because the 3D things make me very, very sick. So there's a certain proportion. You should ask him this.
Yeah.
A certain proportion of people who get
motion sickness
from wearing it. And unfortunately, I'm one of them. My husband has one, and so I have access to one to use.
An Oculus.
Yeah. Well, not an Oculus. There's another one. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. Not the Facebook one.
But it's been around a while. It's one of the early ones. But I can't use it. I tried to do a driving one, which he thought I'd like because I like to drive fast. But I did not do well.
Related to that, Texas Space Agency has a question. What is the fastest you've ever driven?
Oh, am I allowed to say that online?
I mean,
I think I've driven 120 miles an hour.
120.
I think so. I mean, my car braked for me. It was the Honda Civic, like an old school one. I was going down a hill. Yeah. And if my husband's actually on, I was on my way to go see my husband when we were dating, and I was in a hurry because I hadn't seen him in a while. We lived in different cities, and I was driving there. And also, I like to drive fast. But I have a shorter, a shorter future time perspective now.
Yeah.
So I don't drive fast anymore. I do not do that, and that was very stupid. It was very bad behavior.
You are beyond the statute of limitations.
Oh, yeah. I should have been arrested, 100%. Yeah. I definitely should have been arrested. But I'm glad I wasn't because it's part of the reason I got married, because I'm pretty sure if I'd gotten arrested for driving 120 miles an hour, my husband would have seen me as a bad risk.
Maybe, or he would have bailed you out.
Oh, he might have bailed me out. That's true. And then he could have proven that he was one of my people.
It's really a love story this whole time.
Maybe there would have been a love story anyway.
That's awesome.
I don't know.
Texas, thank you for the question. The civic governor said at 120. Yeah, apparently it allows you to go that fast.
I know. I think it was 120. Now I'm wondering if I'm remembering wrong. But in my brain,
we're gonna count it.
I think it was 120, and I was like, oh, it's probably bad. But I was going down a big hill. There's a valley I was living in Arizona, and there's a valley between Phoenix and Flagstaff. Mm-hmm. Because you're going from about 2,000 feet in elevation to 7,000 feet in elevation. But there's a section right in the middle where it goes down and then goes right before it starts climbing a lot. And I used to think it was a lot of fun, like a video game, actually, a bit like this, to go as fast as I could down the hill. And that's where I did it. If you've ever been to Arizona, Camp Verde.
Yeah.
So, yeah, embarrassing now in my 40s to admit that when I was 20.
Now is the time to admit it.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow, good one from Minerva question. At what age should I start thinking about my own aging process?
Now,
right now.
The answer is from the beginning. I mean, yes and no. That same sort of situation where, like you gotta live your life now knowing that it could be the last one, but at the same time expect that you're gonna live to be 95. So it's a little bit of a balancing act. Yeah. So when you start preparing for aging, I would say right now. And this is part of the reason that my students are encouraged to think about it. It's like certain behaviors that you can do, you gotta be aware of the long-term consequences, not just the immediate ones. So let's see. Didn't you say you study risk? I do study risk. Yes, dance like you're 20 and prepare like you're 75. Absolutely. That's exactly what I would recommend. And it's one of those things where, as a person who's a gerontologist, who also had a mom die at age 53, I'm aware of the fact that, she spent a lot of her time, doing things because she was going to enjoy life when she was retired and never got to experience retirement. And so, that can happen. You can do all the things right and have bad luck. So you have to be aware of that too. Modern medicines in your level. What does this mean? I don't know this one.
Worth advances in modern medicine level of income. I reckon you'll make it to 200 or 300 in age.
Geez, well, with advances
Yeah.
in modern. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, not any reason to believe that, like, all the evidence for, I don't know all the things about biological aging, but I will say there's currently no evidence that we are going to stop the aging process. So if you're hoping for that magic pill or whatever, and I just want to say, like, that's a fascinating thing to think about. I mean, obviously lots of movies made about stuff like this, but like if there were such thing as like the pill that you could take on a daily basis and it would like prevent you from getting older, first of all, what age would that be? That's a pretty interesting question. Because so far I wouldn't stop now.
Well, that's interesting.
I'm not there yet. Like, it's so far getting better with each year. So there's that. But second, like, who would get to have it? I'm a 152-year-old dog.
You know who would have it. Super rich people.
I mean,
all right, so we are at 10:40.
All right, so we need to switch to our final game.
It's time to win the war on drugs, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Ask a Scientist Gaming Classic NARC. We are on to play and beat Mr. Big. Don, are you ready to win the war on drugs?
Oh, you know.
Sure, it's been 30 years of failed policies and spent money and imprisoned innocent people, but that's fine. We're going to end it all tonight.
Yeah, so, NARC. Great.
Go ahead, press start.
I'm wondering what age people would pick to stop.
That's a really good question.
I don't know.
I mean,
very interesting. What would you pick?
Wouldn't you peak physical condition? So for that, what would that be? Between 20 and 30 probably for most? I guess depending on what your goals are.
20 and 30. I mean, I think a lot of people think they would say 20-something because they somehow think being 20-something is like the ideal age. But the 20s suck because you're so incredibly insecure about yourself.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. So like, is that insecurity biological, and does that stay with you if you stop aging then? Or is
I see what you mean. So if you're, I see.
Like if you still intellectually develop, but you're physically in.
Oh, well then, of course 20.
But have you seen Cher? Not recently, to be honest. So this game, walk right and keep shooting. You have infinite weapons, and killing these guys doesn't help you at all.
I do kind of like the idea of like not being able to die from this. This is a useful hack.
No, this is just murder. Just keep.
It's like but I died.
But you have infinite lives.
I mean, that's helpful. But.
Yeah. So just keep going right. The artist immortally known as Cher. Yes, that is the correct descriptor. All right, anyone just joining us, this is Ask a Scientist Gaming, mediocre gameplay, expert level science. We're winning on the war on drugs with the game NARC, but also Dr. Don Carr is answering questions about aging and health. She's a gerontologist that studies various factors that influence health and aging. So if you have any questions, throw them in chat. We are happy to answer anything we can. Just go in that door.
Oh, is that what's going on? Yes. I was like, I'm not going
this
anywhere.
This game is nonsense, so I'll coach you through it as we go. This is not...
It's kind of silly, isn't it? So I'm killing drug dealers.
Yes,
all
exactly.
Right. Yes, that's what I remember.
But they're like, trench coat wearing, shoeless,
they look kind of creepy. They look actually like perverts.
Flashers.
Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, totally flashers. They're flasher guys.
So keep going right. Cuddly Puppy is right. NARC is very topical because of the immortality. Exactly why we play it. It's directly related to gerontology.
I mean, yes.
In fact, it's a case study.
Oh, well done. Oh, wait. Now where do I go?
Because it's not like... that red card and then go right.
And then go right. Okay. Oh, what's the dog? What's the dog doing? Is he killing me?
If I still had the strength and endurance of 45, I wouldn't mind 59 one bit.
It's true. But, you can do things to, do I go up there? Okay. Oh, and he followed me.
Right.
Ooh.
Yep.
All right. Keep going to the right. Is that also somehow a rule for life? Just keep going right.
Yeah, exactly. If Nintendo taught us anything, it's just
keep going right. I don't know, though. I do like to go left. I am left-handed, though.
Yeah.
There might be something there.
Mario says you're wrong. There's one level in Mario that goes to the left.
Okay, what did I do wrong? It's not letting me.
So go to that thing, you have a key card, then go in the door.
Got it. Ooh, let's see here.
I'm utterly broken at 35. I agree. I'm 39, and I've had 3 knee surgeries, a shoulder surgery, and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, sports, they were really important when I was young.
Yeah, sports are good except for the fact that it can wreck you. That is a problem. I was a gymnast.
Oh, wow.
It kind of wrecked. Oh, yeah. Gymnast and a swimmer.
Havoc.
I was a butterflyer, too.
Yeah.
So, my shoulders are a little trash. But then, I'm actually doing pretty well.
Yeah. No, I had the same
Turns
issue.
out you can rehabilitate your body by just continuing to be active.
Yeah.
I mean, knee surgeries can be helpful. I do have really screwed up knees, though. I can never fix that. I'm waiting to find out, the perfect knee replacement that will give me perfect knees again so I can...
I had a cow
that would be
cartilage
fun.
scaffolding in my knee for a while. It's
What is
presumably
that?
me now. So
See, now this is how you know you're old, when you
Yeah.
actually have discussions about your joints and what's wrong with them.
Exactly.
It's like, that's actually, what does it mean to be old? It means you talk about your ailments.
oh man, yeah, I have videotapes of my surgeries and
Oh,
Yeah.
you kept videotapes.
Well,
Fascinating.
so prior to being a chemist, I changed majors 4 times
Oh.
and because I was really into sports. Obviously, it was my big thing. And then I started out as an athletic trainer, then exercise science, then
athletic
biomedical
trainer.
science, and then chemistry.
Do you want to be a doctor?
No, I wanted to be like an athletic trainer, like sport related.
Oh, interesting.
And
Very
then eventually
interesting.
physical therapist, but
Oh,
because I was
got
hurt
it.
so much that I had spent a lot of time in contact
Oh,
with those
yeah,
people.
that makes sense.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of damage to my body. And I don't want to say I regret it, but, in retrospect.
What? So some athletic activities are worse than others. Gymnastics is very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're better now.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, the issue was they were sort of like, you just keep working hard. I feel like I'm supposed to go somewhere.
So you might check if you have the blue card, go up to that thing, see if you have the blue card. Nope. So you got to kill people till you get a blue card. There you
I
go.
just got
That's
one.
perfect. All right. Yeah, so I did martial arts and football were damaging. Track was good for me, but
Why didn't it let me do that? I thought I got a blue
should.
card.
Oh,
I
get
need
the
to
blue
grab
card.
it.
Yep. There we go.
I didn't grab it.
All right.
I mean,
words.
this technology is so advanced. It's hard to
2 words. Robot body.
robot body. I
That's
mean,
fair.
it would be very nice, but
Man, when prosthetic eyes become better than natural human eyes, will you blind yourself for better vision? Blind yourself for better vision?
So here's the thing: if I could pick any one thing to fix the human body, it would be cartilage, because actually arthritis is the most common factor that causes chronic pain in humans for a long time. And as you get older, for most people, cartilage breaks down, and a very large percentage of people have arthritis in some joint or another by the time they're in their later life, like in their early 70s. Huge amount of people have arthritis, and cartilage is this fascinating thing that it breaks down, and it really makes a big difference.
Not only does it
So I
break
would-
down, but cartilage, it has such a low blood circulation. That's why
It
the
is
healing
true. It
time
doesn't
is really
heal
low.
well, and it doesn't regenerate.
Yep. And so
So
if
it
your
is-
blood pressure goes down more, it's this feedback loop of degeneration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said blood pressure?
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah, you can
Interesting.
actually cut down the circulation through the cartilage, things like that. And so those being stagnant, a lot of your blood flow in your body, believe it or not, is mechanical force. And so your muscles
Interesting.
contracting is what actually pushes one-way blood flow through your tissue.
I haven't heard it explained quite
Yeah,
like
so
that.
there's valves in your veins. It's your heart is not strong enough to push blood through your body. It's just you can only push through so hard through a straw. And so your additional channel for actually fluxing blood through is through muscle contraction.
Oh, that makes perfect sense,
Yeah.
which is why exercise is good
Yeah,
for you.
and why you have to stand up so blood clots don't end up. So you
Oh,
can
that
actually
makes sense.
circulate it through contraction. So yeah, fun factoid
That is a good fun
from
fact.
my athletic training stint.
I appreciate that. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, there has been a lot of research arguing that it has to do with muscle. Blood flow in muscles had always been what I'd heard. So that's really fascinating. So
Yeah.
it's actually soft tissues that make a big difference.
Yep, you're actually pushing it through muscle contraction. Look at in veins. There's actually valves that are one way, and so the contraction
Yeah,
pushes
it makes
goes
perfect
and it goes
sense.
backwards. It's really cool.
That is very interesting.
Texas Space Agency, thank you for stopping by. Always a pleasure. Come back in 2 weeks. We'll have a scientific computing expert Sachin Shanbaj will be here talking about modeling soft materials from biological tissue to polymers to whatever. So should be a good time. Come by in a couple weeks. We'll see you there.
Awesome. I
Jump
don't know how to get
past that.
How do you jump?
Tap B, I think.
Oh, there we go. Wow. You can jump in this game. Look at that.
Yes,
Check it out.
there's
Oh,
4
you waited
inputs.
until now to tell me?
So B,
I
if
mean-
you hold it, it squats. If you tap it, it jumps. Yeah. Oh,
I love it.
Thank you for stopping by. All right, we're at 10:50. We better do our last prediction.
All right, last prediction.
This one's a fun one. I look forward to seeing what the outcome is on this.
All right.
All right. Let's pop this up right now. You guys will have 2 minutes. If you're not following, click the follow button. Get your 200 or 300 standard internet units. Otherwise, spend your units right now. The prediction is up. What proportion of the 65 plus population is in a nursing home? Is it less than 5% or greater than 5%? This is in the U.S.?
In the U.S.
In the United States, of the people 65 and older,
Yes.
what percent of those people are in a nursing home? Less than 5% or greater than 5%? Throw your guesses in there right now. And if you're not following, click the follow button. We are still sitting at 299 followers. We need one more to break 300, which is
Come on,
an
folks.
arbitrary number, but
It's cool, though.
take it.
Be number 300.
Wait,
It's the best.
did your husband follow?
I don't know.
Do you have an idea in here?
Good question.
Oh,
My guess is that he's stealing my son's Discord account.
that's awesome.
You know, it's just a guess.
They're watching together. It's family
I mean, it
activity.
could be.
That's fun.
Could be bad.
Mm.
I've had a pretty clean mouth tonight, though. That's unusual for me. I'm not known for that.
All right, you have about a minute left. The portion of people 65 and older in nursing homes, is it greater than 5%?
What do
or
you
less
think?
Than 5%. Cuddly Puppy says 123%.
123%
Cuddly
or
Puppy is bad at math. That's what
Yeah.
we just learned.
There we go. Cuddle Puppy.
Cuddle Puppy,
That's a cute
sorry.
name. I like that.
I feel bad when I get people's names wrong in person
Yeah.
and online.
I mean, but if your name is Cuddle Puppy, I don't think you mind being called Cuddly Puppy.
No, that's true.
I'm pretty sure
Unless-
that's what
unless
else
it's
would be
a family
acceptable.
name. That's like,
That is true, but I'm pretty sure that's
ancestry.
not a
if it's,
family
if it's
name.
Cuddle Puppy the third and they left out the senior, I like it.
Did the U.S. government actually sponsor the creation of this game? I mean, I'm kind of curious because
Maybe I'm fairly confident Nancy Reagan wrote the storyline.
I'm
behind
thinking
this
maybe.
for the last time.
It's Cuddle. It's true.
Yeah, this game is amazing. By the way, I don't care how you feel about it. It's just amazing.
It's amazing because it's just
So-
random killing.
So when I was a guest on Ask a Scientist Gaming.
I love that. Just don't call me a cat. Oh, so we have. What is it? Would that be considered animalism?
Caddis.
Like caddist? Yeah.
versus.
I don't know.
Caddis.
What is that?
Yeah, NARC was a game that's like in the bargain bin at like Blockbuster. You know that the like crappy games that nobody wanted.
Oh,
and
yeah,
most old.
yeah,
Like,
sure.
This is one from my childhood, so I played it, and then I started making other people play it.
Oh,
So that's the origin
I
story
can
of
see.
NARC.
I didn't know that you had such an important
Oh yeah, no,
history.
it's an emotional tie to NARC.
But there's a lot of jump in here.
A speciest.
Speciest?
Speciest?
Speciest. I didn't know that was a thing.
Probably not. Chad is making stuff up. All right. So, submission is closed. Portion of 65 plus age people in nursing homes. Greater than 5%, less than 5%. What is the answer, Don?
The answer is less than 5%.
Less than 5%.
How many people said that?
So we had 4 people say less, 5 people say more, and about an even split on the funding. So
right.
congratulations on your 1.27 or 2.27 to 1 payout on that, less than 5%. What's the actual number?
The actual number is, I think, 3.5%. It might be 4%, depending. And it depends on what state you live in. In places like Florida, they purposefully have fewer nursing homes because they're hoping that you're going to come here when you're healthy and go back to where you came from when you're not. Because it's expensive. A nursing home costs about $100,000 a year. And if you're talking about the average 50-year-old having not a lot of wealth,
Yeah.
that gives you some insights on like most people spend most of their money in the last year and a half that they're alive. Because healthcare is not free in the United States and it totally screws you. So if you're trying to support yourself, it's extremely expensive. I think in Florida, the average nursing home is like around $85,000 a year.
$85,000 a year.
Yep, it's not cheaper to live at home with full-time care. It's about the same. So it's, it's better though. Most people want to stay in their house when they get older and they're sick. They just want to stay where they're living. But nursing homes sometimes are what people need.
Yep, that door far to the right. One thing I love about this level in particular, I don't know if you saw that, but all the doors were to XXX bookstores.
Oh, I did not. I totally missed that.
So, yeah, get
that's
that
really bad.
Walk out and then go to the left, get that key door.
One time you have to go to the left.
Yep.
This must be some
sort of...
There is a
level you have to go to the left. You'll love it.
Come on, let me go. They're killing me. That's not good.
But yeah, this game not only captures the war on drugs, but also convolutes
Did that clown come out of a sex shop? I think the answer is yes.
Yes, based on a true story. All right.
Oh my goodness, that sounds about right. Oh my god, this looks like Mr. T. Was Mr. T a drug dealer and I missed something about the 80s? I mean, what's happening here? I don't see any necklaces though.
Yeah.
But it is not particularly advanced.
So Uncle Bill has a comment. Now you got me remembering a recent post somewhere about cat people and dog people on the internet, and an implication that someone has to be one or the other.
So do you want to hear some actual factoids about dogs and cats?
Yeah, I was going to say, the comment here is, the truth is most of us are animal lovers and not exclusive about it. Which
it's true. It's true, but if you look at older people and you look at cat owners versus dog owners, what you'll actually see is that cat owners have higher levels of depression.
Cat owners have? Is that?
Do you know why?
Is that related to the toxoplasmosis?
It does not have anything to do with that. It actually has to do with the fact that people get cats when their health starts to decline because they can't have a dog anymore, so they choose a cat.
It's not causal. It
is not. It's correlational. And yeah, what am I doing wrong?
Oh, you got to shoot the guys in wheelchairs or what? Not
oh my God!
No,
are you?
The guys running. They look like they're sitting in wheelchairs. Sorry.
That's so bad. I can't even.
There you go. There's the card.
The guys in wheelchairs.
Sorry, I'm forked out.
Oh no, it's so bad. Come on, get in there.
You're
all right.
Fooling. Oh, Hamsterlicious has redeemed request a factoid. Do you have factoids left?
I mean, I could finish the one I was talking about. So people, I could start with that. So people who have, I'll just expand on the pet thing. So people who have dogs exercise more because they have to walk their dogs. Of course, not everybody has to walk their dog, but if you have a dog, you're more likely to walk your dog. And one of the cool things about walking a dog is you're likely to run into other people when you're out walking, which makes it a more socially engaging activity, which hopefully, if you take nothing away, you'll learn from me today that your friends are important to you and having good relationships is important. So walking a dog can be good for you. People who own cats are more likely to have cats because they can't, not just because they don't want cats, but people own cats oftentimes because they can't have dogs, and that's partially related to their health. But having a dog and walking a dog is good for you. In fact, I just published a study looking at dog walking over COVID, and it showed that people who walk their dog on a regular basis experienced no consequences socially, even if they felt lonely or had like a loss of engagement with friends during COVID. So walking their dog seemed to like kind of buffer them from all those effects. So dog walking can be good for you. Incidentally, it's also good for you when you go through other stressful times. That's what other research I've done has shown. So dogs in particular seem to be helpful, but owning a pet in general is good when you're going through a difficult time.
It depends on why you're getting that particular animal.
It does not mean you're going to die if you have 3 cats. Cats are awesome. There's nothing wrong with cats. It just means that you're probably less likely to walk your cat, which means you should probably do some exercise not with your cat. I mean, I've seen some people walk cats, but you're probably going to walk fairly slow. I would encourage you to walk without your cat. But it's a correlational study. It's sort of like, one of those examples where they don't happen to be related. It's not like having a cat makes you depressed and sick. It's just that if you're depressed and sick, you might get a cat to help you feel better. Because you can't necessarily get a dog. All right.
So now is when you have to blow up the guy in the wheelchair.
Oh, there's really that?
Yeah, that's really a
Where
thing.
am I?
So keep. Actually,
this
no.
place?
You have to go.
I have to go in
this
here.
first.
Okay.
You'll have to go up several floors. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
And then we have to get a key card from a guy in a wheelchair.
If I get a cat, I'm going to get the plasmosis that makes me like the smell of urine, and then I'm going to be depressed. There you go. Sure. There you go.
Causal. You heard it here. No, you didn't.
Okay, now is when I have to break out my like intro statistics.
All right.
You know, like that's not how it works. As you know, that's not how that works.
That's the extent of
That
it.
is not it.
So you
That's
should
a no.
practice using
Oh, come on.
rockets now. So if you tap A,
Oh, thank you
blow
for
up
the
the dog.
reminder that
Yep.
I can send off rockets. I
Yep,
forgot
'cause
about
you will need them up
Can I
here.
kill the stupid dog that's
yep,
biting me?
rockets
'Cause-
does it.
I mean, speaking of dogs, like they're not all nice.
Neither are cats.
I mean, that's true. Some dogs and cats can be jerks.
That's true.
So how do we get away from this dog?
So you can squat and shoot him, or a rocket. I think you have the blue card. So you go to
Oh, I do.
Because there's several. Like, I don't know why they require you to use the card again, because you can't get to this point without it. But whatever.
The depression was just from the sociological data. Okay, fair. It is depressing sometimes to learn how skeptical you should be.
All right. So we're getting-
I'm just blowing everybody up with rockets.
Oh, that's
Oh,
winning.
I mean,
That counts.
I think that clown just beat me up.
Yeah, the clown with a knife.
I'm serious. I think
All
he
right.
did.
We're getting towards the end of the stream. If anyone has suggestions of someone we can raid, we tend to raid science and technology, but if somebody has any other suggestions, we're happy to take those as well. But Don's going to finish this game.
I am going to finish this game. Did I get it? I did.
Yep.
Is that the end?
No. So you have 2 bosses to fight
Oh,
on
no.
this level. No,
All right.
no,
Is
it'll be
this
good.
exciting?
It is.
All right.
The bosses are the reason we play this game.
Oh my gosh, it is someone in a wheelchair. It seems so ableist.
But, I mean...
This is wrong.
Oh, we have an emote dedicated to this boss, actually.
Oh, this stupid dog. He keeps killing me. Oh, and then he dances when he kills you. That's so wrong. This is not a good dog. Don't get a dog that bites you. That's not good. Bad dog. Of course, he is working for the bad guys. Man, they keep chewing me up. How do you bite? I don't know what to do.
So you can do the hold B and squat.
B and squat. Okay.
Yeah, hold B.
Except
Make
that
it
they
a
keep chewing me up.
Yep. So start firing your
Dang.
gun when you're squatting. Because you have to, like, be their height to hurt them.
Oh, I see. See, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And then I can kill the humans when I'm squatting. And that means why not just squat all the time? I can kill everybody.
Slower?
They turn into puppies when you shoot them.
I don't know how that works.
That is very confusing. I'm very confused right now.
Hamsterlicious has the most important equation we have of the night. Enlightened Carl plus ethanol plus rage equals Mr. Big. That is the descriptor of us playing Ask a Scientist gaming.
I love it.
It's perfect.
I'm not moving as fast
Oh,
on this
man.
level. Does it really get harder?
So him, you gotta
Oh,
shoot
I
with
gotta
a
shoot
rocket.
him.
With a rocket.
Oh, he's moving very
So
fast.
tap A, yep. It's kind of luck, kind of skill.
Okay, I'm gonna scooch back a little bit.
So Hamsterlicious threw up an equation. I have one for you. What is your favorite equation?
My favorite equation? I don't know. That's an interesting question. My favorite equation. Wow,
be
that's
the
a
most-
question no one's ever had for me.
I mean, it could
mean-
be the most useful one. It could be the most, I don't know, scientifically insightful one.
I'm trying to think about what would it be? God, I don't know if I can answer that question. All that comes to mind is really boring things.
Like what?
Like area or something.
Yeah.
Like it's very useful, but it has nothing to do with my field. I mean, I can't think of what the.
Look to the right more. It
Okay.
might show up better.
I'm trying to get the. Oh, this stupid dog.
There you go. Yeah, basically, this is the point in the game where you shoot random rockets and hope it hits the guy in the wheelchair.
And hopefully the dog won't come out and bite you. Okay, so I'm not very good at. Come on, it's not shooting.
There you go.
So it is luck. And we don't know when he's going to come. And
No, it's kind of random.
And why
So
am
try
I not?
one tap. Just one tap. Might be too long. Try it lighter. There we go.
He goes very
terrible.
fast.
I'm
I mean, how
sorry
many
I'm
people in a
making you play this
wheelchair?
game,
I
but
mean, you
I'm
know.
glad it's at the end of the night. We're sufficiently drunk that this is awesome.
Oh, it's pretty funny.
Oh,
Love
wait till
this
you see the
game.
next boss after you beat the guy in the wheelchair.
Oh,
That's where
no.
the real joy is.
I feel like
Alex
it's like
Robb
against
said-
all my instincts. Kill the guy in the wheelchair. I mean,
Alex
come
Robb is
on.
team Y equals MX plus B, which is
Oh, I do
also a very
appreciate
useful
that.
question.
It is.
Or a useful equation.
It is very useful. It is true. I concur. Team Y equals MX plus B. I'm a big fan.
Top
I
team.
use that a very regular basis.
I mean, I use it all the time. If students take one thing from my general chemistry class, it's Y equals MX plus B. If you can fit any phenomena to a straight line, you have solved that phenomena, at least the relationship between the variables. Like, solve the stock market, solve aging, solve anything. Find that relationship.
I can't kill the wheelchair guy. I might have to hand over my thing.
What I would do is just keep firing rockets in the middle and just hope he runs into them. Might be the easiest way. It's not just any wheelchair, it's a hover round.
It's a hover what?
I have no idea that a particular... Oh, what about Taylor polynomials? Man, I don't know how often.
I got him! Woo!
You got him once and he's crawling away.
Oh no.
So you need two
I have
more
to do
hits.
two
on
more
him,
hits?
yep.
That seems like a very high bar for such a game. Turner, I'm gonna kill this guy with a rocket because he's like ran on my back. And that's rude. Oh, come on. Man. Without all these.
So one thing we get to do after our stream is we get to raid other channels. So us and our viewers
nice.
go to another channel. So we're looking through right now. We've got some science and technology. Bill, thank you for the suggestions. There's a Twitch stream that's just a live stream of a stop sign.
What?
It averages over 100 viewers.
Oh my goodness. How is that? Why? I mean,
That is amazing. Internet. I mean, to be fair, Andy
it is
Warhol,
true.
he made millions off poop cans, right?
That is true. We actually have one.
And you have
bought one a long time ago.
Then who are you to judge?
Not a real one. I mean,
Yeah, that's an iconic
novelty in your
Let's
20s.
go to the right and see if that...
Except I keep dying.
So we're past 11 o'clock. I don't know what
All right.
your shutdown time is. But it's basically this guy, and then there's a... You killed him yet? Is he
No,
still...
he's still going, but he hasn't shown up in a while. There he is. Come on, man.
So next time Dawn's on, she will have spent like 6 months practicing this game and just destroy it. Like speed run.
Oh, narc.
Zero death run.
Oh, this guy behind me. Keeps shooting me in the back. What a jerk.
24/7 the Sea Otter stream. There's one with ducks that's really popular too.
I just...
Nice. Is that 2?
Yeah,
Yep, one
except
more.
these stupid dogs. Come on, quit biting me. They're mean. So rude. Come on.
I mean,
I feel like do you hear the music changed? It's like they're ready for me.
that was close.
Thought I got him that time. Come on. All right, good. Here we go. Now what do I
that's
do?
fun.
I got him 3 times.
Yep, grab the
now
card.
Don't bite me. Stop biting me. Stop.
Now you are on to Mr. Big. This is the final boss in the
Mr.
game.
Big.
Yeah.
All right. Is that what Mr. Big's about? All right.
Yep.
See, everyone else knows more than I do about Mr.
Well,
Big.
I mean,
I know about it. I assumed you were talking about Sex in the City.
kind of. No.
Unrelated? Is
Are you
that how
ready?
what Mr. Big?
So you're gonna have to jump and shoot a rocket at his head. Exactly. So you got to get a rocket in his glasses, basically.
Wow, is he shooting tongues at me?
Yes, he is.
Holy crap! Where am I? I mean,
Ladies
I
and
didn't come
gentlemen, if you
back.
haven't seen NARC and the final boss, this is Mr. Big, at least the final form of Mr. Big, who is a head with glasses. Yeah, so
Who
basically, you
shoots
gotta-
tongues at you?
who shoots tongues?
Oh my god,
at
I'm getting stuck behind him.
Wellness Wednesday on Check Me Out channel. Wellness counselor that's doing sound meditations. That's fun.
Man, I don't get this at all.
You want me to jump in? I can get him to his next form. It depends how tight your time is. I will
Alright,
gladly stay
I
here
might-
until Mr. Big is beaten.
All right.
It's kind of
let's
a rite of passage.
Oh, and it's a rite of passage. I gotta get it then. I keep forgetting. I keep jumping instead of pressing the.
And it's such a janky, like, you have to get a jump. And
How
then
many
it
times do I have
shoot
to hit him in the face
It's
with
like
a?
twice, but it has to
got
hit him
him.
like right there. So it has to be a jump, and when you're falling right in the eyeglasses. Cooking
you-
without looking, that's a fun channel. A blind person that shows how they cook.
All right, I'm gonna have you get him to the next level because I'm making no progress.
It's a really annoying. Ah,
A lot of tongues. This is so bizarre. The 80s were a weird time.
true.
I mean,
From
really.
Rad Racer to this.
It's true. It's super weird.
Oh, come on, that was a hit. So you gotta hit him like right in the top of the head. It's just.
That
super
is
touchy.
impressively difficult. So, do people play this in arcades? I'm very
Yes,
curious.
the arcade one is actually the original version.
Is it easier, like because you have the
I
joystick or
think it
whatever?
is easier.
I mean, I can
This
see
is
that.
just it's so the arcade you get 4 buttons, and not just 2, where the tap speed matters. Thinking about like committing to a speed run to this, just because why not? You can check chat. Cooking without looking is. We should probably raid cooking without looking.
I think we just got to take a drink.
Did we?
Yeah.
Reese's Pieces. All right, let's do it.
All right. I have to pour another one. Are you done with yours?
I am. Yes, I'm.
I think
completely out.
here we'll do a little splash of tequila. For that.
That sounds
What do you think?
good. Feel free to fill mine.
All right.
God, come on. I am just washed up. It's time to retire from gaming.
Makes me feel better. I gotta say.
No, it's super terrible.
Oh, two take a drink. Okay, I'm gonna have to pour a little more.
I'm glad it's summer. It's gonna be interesting during the semester when like people are teaching classes on a Thursday.
That
or
is
Ask
true.
the Scientist gaming on a Wednesday night.
That could be a little painful.
Well, I thought about doing it
No
on the
8
weekend.
no 8 a.m. classes, man.
I thought about doing it on the weekend, but nobody wants to like give up their weekends. Or maybe they would, but I don't want to ask them to.
And it's kind of an entertaining thing to do on a Wednesday night. My brain does not work at 8 a.m.
Man, I'm teaching an 8 a.m. Gen Chem class in the
Ooh,
fall.
that's rough, man.
I mean, it's fine for me because I'm up early,
Just
but my students, that's... There we go, his glasses are off. All right, step 1. So I got to get one more shot. in
I'm
the
taking
face.
one of my drinks now.
All right.
Well, I'm waiting for you.
Sorry, I'm focused. There we go. All right.
All
Now
right.
you're on this.
All right,
now it's just
we have
done.
2 drinks we
Now
gotta
it's just
do.
gone. Cheers, everyone. Thank you for
Cheers.
stopping by Ask a Scientist Gaming and staying with us through the victory. We're going to beat Mr. Big and win the war on drugs. Don just has to shoot the spinal column with bullets, and then it's over.
All right, let's see if I can do
So
it.
no more rockets, just bullets, and you have to like walk up and shoot in his spine, basically.
All right, here we go. How do I do this?
Just switch to Everclear.
I know.
Tequila is okay. All right.
Okay. So now what do I do?
Oh, that's interesting. So cooking without looking, she doesn't have emotes. She uses the voice translator for chat, so she doesn't want emotes in chat.
Okay, so I need a little help here.
Bullets. So not rockets anymore, just bullets in the spot. So hold A to shoot. And get a little bit of distance, it's easier.
Having trouble here, man. Getting some distance. Why does it's sucking me in?
There you go. Oh, you're pressing up. Press right. There we go. So go left, because you're at the end of the screen. Alright, sorry. Should be an interactive braille device. That's fun.
Why is it working?
Thank you for stopping by. It's a pleasure. Again, I understand it's getting late. Catching up on things. Hamsterlicious wants us to drink late at night. That's fine. We'll do it.
So, if I press A or versus hold A, what's better?
Hold A. So no rockets. There you go. So what I usually do is go down, get some distance, and then go to the right, but move up, so it shoots in the spine. It's got a weird hitbox. So get some distance, then move up a little and shoot. So you'll see it when it kills one of the vertebrae, because it gives you the points. This is terrible,
this is
Don. I'm sorry. Your night didn't need to end this way.
It just sucks you in, man.
It does.
This is such a weird game. Oh my god. This is Mr. Big.
This is the final boss, man. This is the final boss of Ask a Scientist Gaming.
Alright, I gotta do it.
This is written by Nancy Reagan, so you have to beat it.
Nancy Reagan. So am I making any progress?
I think you got one of them.
Did I?
Don't. So get pretty good distance, then turn back. Just shoot, blast, hold the bullets. Yep, move up. There's like a sweet spot of the vertebrae. There you go. Saw the points. One of the vertebrae went away. Yep.
All right.
Is your son still awake, or is this?
Oh, for sure.
He's watching. All right.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Watching me kill this guy. Or not, as it were. Okay.
You know, if he figures out the emulators, you can play this at home anytime you want.
This is true.
I think you got a couple of the vertebrae already. You just got to get the rest of them. Right. Cooking without looking is who will raid. So that's kind of fun.
I think I got another one.
Yep. Yeah, 4 more. It gets easier too. Yeah, there you go. You see how they're hitting the base there? It's perfect.
Oh, I'm getting closer. Right?
Yep.
Hopefully. Give me
Close.
some encouragement here.
No, you're doing it. There's another one. 3 more.
All right, 3 more. I can do this.
This is really smooth tequila.
It is good.
I'm several drinks in, but it's
true.
It's sippable, that's for sure. There's another one. 2 vertebrae left.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen,
his head's
so
getting
close.
smaller.
His
his spine
yeah.
is getting smaller. Oh, I blew his head off. That's
Ladies
great.
and gentlemen, Don Carr has won the war on drugs. Hamsterlicious, thank you for the cheer and the bits. It is the appropriate time to celebrate. Now you got to go through the door.
I got to get through the door.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Celebrate your win with your gold bar collection.
My cool bar. I've got gold.
Gold bar, yes.
So you kill the drug dealers and you get all their gold?
Oh yeah, no, this is
wow.
true to American drug enforcement, where
yeah, if you kill the drug dealers, then you get to take all their money that they've made off the drug.
What is that called when they confiscate money?
I don't know what you're going for.
Forfeiture.
Oh.
Yeah, there's
Got
actually a term behind it. So if they accuse you of anything, they can take your money and just unjustified theft. It's kind of really, really dirty. But yeah, there's your $24,000 gold bar.
Wow, and this part's easy. I can do this. You just go pick up all your gold. I can do this. And then
Civil forfeiture, yep.
Oh, and then I gotta put in my
All right.
gold safe.
So on this game, you also get to put in your name, but if you put in ass, it doubles your score.
Ass.
So really, it's an existential question.
I will definitely put an ass. If that's it, that's how it is.
At least that's what it does on the arcade
right.
game. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us through this
Cheers
battle.
to ya.
We're about 20 minutes beyond time, but it was worth it. Don, thank you for stopping by. Don Carr, Ask a Scientist Gaming, thank you. I had a lot of fun learning about gerontology, aging, and health, as well as playing several different games. Put your initials in and we will wrap it up.
I mean, I thought I got to put in ass. I'm all about that. Look at that. There we go.
And then down, and
There we go.
we did it.
Ta-da!
Ladies and gentlemen, we won the war on drugs again. Ask a Scientist Gaming every 2 weeks. We win the war on drugs. Also have different guests and different expertise. 2 weeks from now, stop by. We have a computer scientist. Sachin Shanbaj is going to be here talking about modeling soft materials and how you do that, as well as various computer science topics. But tonight, I'd like to thank Don Carr for stopping by,
Thanks
playing
for
a lot
having
of different
me.
games,
It was
drinking,
fun.
having
Thanks.
fun answering questions. Thank you all. Don, any parting words for the audience?
Find some friends that'll get you out of jail.
Yep. Let's do
that's
the
the party
5
words.
things, the 5 major take
Five
homes.
major things.
So
Eat fruits and vegetables, do some exercising, don't
be
be
poor.
too stressed, don't be poor, and get some friends that'll get
some
you out of jail.
friends. And that's the key to
There you
longevity
go.
and living long, living healthy, and living happy. So not only did we win the war on drugs, but you all learned the 5 things that are necessary for longevity. So thank you all for stopping by again. Stick around. We're going to raid Cooking Without Looking, which is, again, a blind person showing how they cook, which is pretty cool, but they show that on stream. But yeah, thank you for stopping by Ask a Scientist Gaming. Every 2 weeks we'll have a stream. We have several scheduled. I'll have to update the calendar for everyone, but yeah, thank you as always for stopping by, and we look forward to seeing you in the next couple weeks. Until then.
See you later.